Well, chat. I'm sorry I'm late, but welcome in. What's today? How's your Thursday going? What trouble are you getting into? What shenanigans have you been up to? Hold on, before I swap over. Okay, I had to check the tracking. I hadn't gotten up, but sometimes it loses tracking. There's no fishing game. The fishing game is a lie. It doesn't exist. But welcome in, guys. How are you doing? What trouble have you been getting into? What shenanigans left the guests in the dark? I'm sorry. I got sucked into talking about dictator fashion, and it was fun. I had a good time. But let me do a real quick reset. There we go. That's a little bit better. S tier drip, baby. S tier drip. You know it. PS2 models back? Hell yeah. Yeah, I bring it back. I'm going to be swapping between models like as I feel fit.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Cast bread over every egg.
But, hi, Ordained. Kid Armstrong, you fucking dork. All right, hold on. Chat, have you seen the update for Marvel Rivals? I don't know if anybody has seen it, but they finally shown what Emma Frost is going to look like, and I have some things to show you pertaining to that. Because let me just where are we? Let me just go ahead and good fucking lord! Hold on a second. Let me just let's come over here. Huh. Well then. It's also kind of interesting that they gave her such. She's pear-shaped, guys. She's pear-shaped. But usually she's kind of a beanpole in the comics, which is always funny. And she apparently sleeps like a toddler, which I always find from that page to be fucking hilarious. Emma Frost sleeps like a toddler and dresses like a teenager when she goes to bed. But Jesus Christ. Also, I have some other issues on this. Let me really quick, kids. It's just random, but like, oh, God damn it. Like, I zoomed in a little too far. Like, blonde hair, blue and white outfit in a fast-paced action game. There's 3 of those now. This is the 3rd one. This is the 3rd blonde-haired, blue and white suited person in this game. Sue Storm and Dagger look already almost exactly the same. The only thing at first glance that you would be able to tell from Emma Frost is that her thighs are out. That's the color difference. Also, you can't see it in this picture because it's a little pixelated as I zoom in, and you can't see the detail of her face. But those lips, the lips on her face, those are some full-ass lips. She's had a lot of different hairstyles throughout the comic, so the hairstyle's meh, irrelevant mostly. Where's our blonde-haired red and black themed characters? That would be Sue Storm's what is it, Malice skin? Yeah, I think it was the Malice skin is what it was called. But, what has been going on the last couple days? Oh, chat, I do apologize. I did not get a trailer out for y'all. Neither Tuesday night nor yesterday, because Tuesday night when I tried to export it, turns out for some fucking reason, DaVinci keeps deciding to shit the bed, and I keep ending up with like media offline moments, and I can't fucking fix it. There's no reason it should be giving me media offline frames, and it just does. It just fucking does. So I'm gonna have to fucking like either rework this whole trailer or come up with a new idea. And I'm very much just on like I'm 10 toes hanging off the idea of just making a fucking like. Let me see. We'll go over like to my referencing. Just fucking black void shit. Y'all aren't gonna hear any music in a second. It's just this. It's just gonna be this. It's gonna be me bitching over here, and then you're gonna get a date and time, and that's gonna be fucking it. because I'm so goddamn frustrated with DaVinci. It's a good program and it has a lot of uses, but for some reason, the longer I work on a project, the more likely it is to just get fucking corrupted. And I don't know why. Like, all of the spaces are filled with things that are supposed to be there, but then all of a sudden, DaVinci just decides that media offline. And it's not even, it's the same spots. If I move my fucking scroller on it, the media offline will appear in different places. Why? I don't know why. Do I have like not enough RAM or something? Because I think I'm only running like 32 gigs of RAM. You're gonna be here at 12 made. You're gonna like it? 12 me? MEI? Me? May? It's gotta be May. Oh my goodness. Also, hold on a second. Oh, interesting. Hi, Fake. How are you doing? So glad I was able to snag Vegas as the humble bundle. My ass would not be able to handle it. I don't like Sony Vegas. I tried to use Sony Vegas a long time ago. How do you spell it in English? Damn it. The month? M-A-Y. M-A-Y. Hi, Digital. How are you doing? Doing chores while listening? Hell yeah, get those chores done. Do you delete the things? No, because like I made them into compound clips, so I'd have to go all the way fucking back, and take all of the little bits that were previously combined to make the compound clip, and recombine them, realign them, readjust the lighting, and it's gonna be a fucking pain. The thing was, that was also, holy shit, Carrie, thank you for the 300 stream streak. Jesus fucking Christ. Hi, Sin. Fuck my dyslexia. You're also Dutch, so it's fine. It's fine. I was just making sure that I was trying to get like the idea behind it. We cook the best Michelin star dish from every decade? No. Chat, what are we gonna do today? Sony Vegas, you say might want to give it a try. I paid for DaVinci Resolve. I have the full version of DaVinci Resolve. Play video games? We can go play the drug game. We can go play the drug game. I like the drug game.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
Hi, Johnny.
We have a city to burn.
Chad, did you know they announced that they're making a John Wick 5? Y'all know they're making John Wick 5? Yeah. It's not the why. We know the why. Because they're good and they make money. But the question, too, is how. Because in case y'all didn't know, John Wick is dead at the end of 4. The spin-off ballerina movie. The Discussing Film posted that John Wick 5 was coming out. That it was confirmed and they're working on the story. But Johnny is dead at the end of 4. He has a grave and Winston and King are there. And you get to see that apparently Winston is supposedly part of the Roma, or the Ruska Roma? All right, hold on. I'm gonna go back and look at that. What day was that posted? What day was that posted? April 1st. It was posted April 1st. Thanks, Dunstar. See, I knew. Something will get me. Something always gets me every fucking year. 2 days later, it got me. God damn it. How could you? How could you? Nice boat, though. That was a nice boat. But trying to see if there's anything else going on. From Software, the Duskblood sparks debate on Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. Emma Frost leaked. Nintendo Treehouse live event sparks diverse reaction on social media. What? What was it? Oh, there was another thing that this just reminded me. You did get me with the Tesla oil change. It was kind of funny. It was funny too. It took me a second to realize it, and I realized it like as I hit enter to search it. I was like, oh, wait a second. Wait a minute, that's an electric vehicle. She was announced. Yeah, I think it's the bot that does like the explore thing fucking up, because it was leaked that Emma Frost was coming a long time ago. But yeah, they've shown her. They have a trailer for the new stuff already. Like, that's not that unheard of. What? I cast mystery tongue hair? What? Also, they showed, what was it? Ultron. They showed Ultron in the trailer. Yeah. So now we know Ultron's also going to be coming out in season 2. Her latest wizard duel. Oh my god. Hold on a second. What the hell? There is also a thing with like Emma Frost in the comics, so I'm not surprised that she has like her thighs out in this skin, because most of Emma Frost's outfits are like leotard form factor. Like, she does not wear pants that often, if ever. Like, the what's the word? The non like sexiest art that has ever been done of Emma Frost is literally the one scene when like the teenage X-Men come to find her when she's a teacher at the school, and she's like asleep, face down in the pillow, ass in the air, and they're like, she sleeps like a toddler and dresses like a teenager. And she like yells and is like, "What the fuck do you want?" Original. Here, let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that comic page really quick. Ah, found it. Easy. Easy. Open here. Too bad it's on Reddit. But we'll swing over here real quick to show y'all what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is how Emma Frost sleeps. Face down, ass up. Sleeps like a toddler dressed like a teenager. Get out. See, there's magic. We want to go shopping. Oh god, yes. Yes, like normal people. Let's go. We don't know where to go. We don't have any money. Right. It's so funny because apparently at this point in the arc, she's a teacher at the Xavier Institute. Not sleeping like a sim without a bed. Listen, it's fine. I can't wait for Mario Kart World, and it's gonna be like $100, dude. It's gonna be like $100. That shit's insane. Oh god, that's another thing that I've seen a couple times already, just today, of people like complaining. And of course it's usually like chuds that like don't know anything about what makes a game good. But I keep seeing like comparative posts of people being like, PlayStation 3 games in 2012 or PlayStation 2 games in like 2008 or 2010 or whatever. Basically comparing other consoles and other games to like Nintendo games, and they're like, why is the Nintendo game so bad looking? Why are the graphics so bad? Because the games are good. Because it's a low fidelity mobile console as opposed to a tiny PC in your living room. It was 130 euros. What the fuck? No, absolutely not. I hate that. I hate that so much. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? It was in the 90s. Wait, what game was it? Really? It wasn't one of those games that like comes with a special controller, was it? I do remember some like Nintendo games would do that, where like if like, what is it? Did Donkey Kong Country have the bongo controller, or was it someone else? It was a Donkey Kong game, but like I can understand it costing more if it comes with like a novelty controller. Like that makes a little bit of sense. If you want the novelty controller, but I do know that I'm pretty sure those games are playable with regular controllers. When graphics aren't the end all be all. Yeah, but Morrowind's also not a good example. You can enjoy Morrowind, but Morrowind and most Bethesda games are gritty and nasty and not fun to look at. For me, I played through Skyrim because it felt like something I was supposed to do because my friends kept telling me to do it. So, you know. Huh. Somebody has made an empire on simply making animated booby bounce. And I keep seeing it all over the place. Why? Here. Oh, she has a V-Gen. When will the carnival get a Wii U? We had a Wii U, but y'all didn't play it, so I gave it away. How could you? How could you? Hold on, I'm trying to find if this thing is on. There it is. Ah, that's why so many people are getting it, because it's a fucking $35 your character here thing. Okay, that's pretty affordable. Oh, and there's a butt version. No. No! Ganon took the Wii U in the divorce? Ganon didn't play the Wii U either. How dare you? A good point is you can now share games between Switch. True. Okay, I will say the digital cartridge thing is very interesting. Hold on. There's another trailer here of something. New Tsukihime anime? Tsukihime, what is that? It's being made by Ufotable, aka Unlimited Budget Works. I played it. I like the Wii U. Why did no one else? I played the Wii U. I played, I think it was the first time I ever played Splatoon. And I don't remember anything else that I played on it. I don't remember any other games that I had on it. Because at that time, I wasn't playing Pokemon. Or was the Wii U... I don't think there was a... Was it Battle Coliseum? Is that what was on the Wii U? Let me see. Wii U Pokemon games. Here, the Bulbapedia. Pokken Tournament was on it. Pokemon Rumble. Virtual console games for like the DS and stuff were. But yeah, it looks like Pokken Tournament was the only one that released onto the Wii U games. Hey, Mike. Battle Revolution is what I was thinking of. But Battle Revolution was on the regular Wii. And I remember playing it on the original Wii. The Wii U was kind of interesting. I'm going to be honest, though. It really felt like it was just a like testing ground for the Switch to come. Because it was so clunky and like chunky to play with the small screen that I really didn't enjoy it that much. I know nothing about the Switch too, but even before anything really came out, I knew I'd buy it. Consoles are becoming too lame. Yeah, but the Switch 2, I think, was announced to be $450. Wasn't it? Yeah, 450 USD. Launches in June. Holy shit. Wait, what is this by Insider 4 hours ago? Cyberpunk 2077 on Nintendo Switch 2 runs at 40 FPS, costs $70. Don't play Cyberpunk on the Switch, kids. Don't play Cyberpunk on the Switch. I will be getting it no matter what. I kind of want one just because, like, I struggle, like, my hands aren't even that big, but even then, using my Switch, my basic Switch, is still kind of uncomfortable. Eventually, though, I'm probably going to set it back up on, like, a TV, because I have not set that thing up on a TV since I last moved. Instead, it just sits on the other side of my room, plugged into the dock at all times, and I play it, like, once or twice every, like, month, probably. 40 FPS Cyberpunk sounds good for a handheld. It is pretty decent. That it does sound pretty decent. I don't know what the Steam Deck can run it as. Where's my audio? Potato with the Devil and 100 Chocobo. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Where did the audio for my alerts go? Hello? Huh? Some people forget that the Switch is a handheld console you can take with you. Yeah. Makes it better than the PS5 for me. I can agree with that. And the PS5 has no games. It's about 500 anyways, and I barely play it. I'd much rather Nintendo have my money for Switch 2, to be honest. That makes sense. But again, PlayStation 5 has no games. PlayStation 5 has no games. Here, let's PS5 exclusives. Category, PlayStation 5 only games. Neptunia Reverse, Marvel Wolverine, Firewall Ultra, Finger Fitness, Ghost of Yatai, which is Ghost of Yatai a PlayStation exclusive? It hasn't come out yet, but Quantum Era, Quantum Break, 90s Extreme Skiing, Astrobot. Astrobot is a game that is not worth buying a PlayStation 5 for. Some companies forget that people are upset enough that games are $70, let alone $100. I'm not buying a game if it's $100. That's just end all be all. I'm not buying it. Fuck you. Really? Nintendo got the scalpers by the short and curly by pulling up a pre-order thing? Yeah. Oh wait, what was I think I saw like an Onion article that was like, did you know you can get the Switch 2 at the ripe old price of $0.00 by using larceny, vandalism, and thievery? I was like, yeah. How many people you think are just gonna like storm Best Buy on opening day and try to rip one out and run out the door? Non-physical keys in physical form instead of an actual game data? Wait, non-physical keys in physical form. Huh? You're talking about the digital cards, right, Carrie? The digital cards actually seem pretty cool. To be able to, like, not just only have your game downloaded to a single console, but to also be able to be like, yeah, you can borrow it in case you don't want to get your own copy for now. I don't play this game. It's all yours. That's great. I think that's an upgrade to digital games. I only got it because other people I knew had it. Maybe in the next 10 years before the next gen consoles, I'll change my mind. But right now, I doubt I'll buy a PS6 or Xbox or whatever else. The last console I bought, the only ones I own right now are the Switch, and I have a PS4. And that PS4 has been in storage, has been in a storage box since I graduated college in 2020. What? Instead of having the game on the cartridge, it's only the key instead of the full physical game. It's been like that the whole time, Carrie. It's the Switch has been like that the whole time, and that's what we were complaining about the other day. How like physical cartridges are borderline useless because it's basically just a key that unlocks your ability to play the downloaded game on the console. It's still full physical price. That's true. That's true, and it likely also means, unless you're buying from second or third hand sites, you're gonna always pay fucking full price because Nintendo doesn't discount their games hardly fucking ever. Also, I finally got that Gamer Subs flavor that they forgot to send in my first package. It's a caffeine-free version, and it's actually pretty decent. It's the Pestilily Antidote, which I've actually forgotten what the flavor was supposed to be for this. Hold on. I'd forgotten. Do I even remember my login? Nailed it. Knew it right away. I'm so fucking smart. I'm so fucking smart. Let me see real quick. What is the flavor for this thing? Oh, it's lime. It's a very sweet lime, Weirdly. Very sweet lime. Anyway, Switch to me is just Mario Kart machine. To me, Nintendo consoles have always been Pokemon machines. Everything else is bonus. Which, that reminds me, I really want to play Pokken Tournament again. I've had Pokken Tournament for so long, and I only ever play it on occasion, but it's so fun. A 3D Pokemon fighting game is so much fun. I just wish they were still releasing stuff for it, unfortunately. I wish they were still adding new Pokemon and stuff to it. You mean the Zelda machine? See, that's the thing with Nintendo games. There's people that like, there's always one game. There's always one game that will get people's attention. And that's always so funny to me. Wait, hold on. Okay, no, never mind. I was checking the release date of the Wii U. And I was thinking I bought my Wii U at like the tail end before the Switch came out. Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, or Metroid. Yep. I did see ZA will have distance and dodge mechanics in Pokemon battles. Yep, you can move in Pokemon battles. Although it's you controlling the trainer, it's the Pokemon is just supposed to follow you. So there is going to be a little more mechanics to it. At least that's what it seems like. I have that TOTK. TOTK. I don't remember what TOTK is. Games are far too big for disc anyway, so if I'm buying a disc, it's just for moral emulating? Yes. The thing, too, is the data's not even on it. Again, CDs and cartridges have done nothing but become keys for you to download a game. So, and with, basically, I'm pretty sure what they're trying to do with the digital cartridges, actually, Nintendo digital cartridges. Okay. For people who haven't seen the thing, I want to show y'all. So we will actually swing right on over here. Hi, chat. How are you doing? Let me also real quick break some things to do this. There we go. That's a little better. It does bother me that like the thing like breaks when I open the program, but I want to give everybody an idea of what we're talking about when it comes to this. Don't parrot me, Ordain. Wait. Oh, Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you, guys. Thank you both. All right. What the fuck? Hold on. Where's my fucking audio? Hold your horses. Something's fucked. Something's fucked. Why is it fucked? Hello? Let me do this. Advanced audio properties. Why is all my audio fucked? Why? It's going to the right channel. All the audio settings are right. Oh my fucking God. I'm gonna have a fucking conniption. I'm gonna have a fucking conniption. Here, change it to something else. See if it works. That works. Switch it back to the other one so chat can hear it.
With game cards,
okay, it suddenly
you
works.
can put a
cool.
game featuring Mario in this Nintendo Switch system,
fantastic. I'm gonna
and a
fucking
Legend
punch
of
a hole in
Zelda
the wall.
game in this one. Freely inserting the games you have on hand into any system you want.
Giggling over the Dustblood game since it's forced PvPvE game. Wait, it's multiplayer? Is that they gave Donkey Kong pants? That's fine. That's fine. All right, but this is what I was talking about. This is the virtual game card. Also, why is the full screen fucked? It's like this weird bar at the top for some reason. All right. Only multiplayer? Oh, that's forced online play then. I don't like that. He's never worn pants. Why now? Who cares? It's just pants.
But what if digital games could be as flexible and convenient as game cards?
Yeah.
Well, here's what we came up
I
with.
wouldn't say it's as,
Introducing
but like,
the virtual game card. In the
Listen.
future, virtual game cards can be used for digital games.
so this in and of itself, at its core, is fucking awesome. You know, have so much like, what's the word? Viability with your games that if you could share them with your friends and stuff, like, I think the best example in here is I don't own Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because I'm not super into it, but maybe at some point I may want to play it. And I know a lot of friends that have the game. Or Kirby and the Forgotten Land, for instance. I fucking love Kirby games. I had Kirby games on Game Boys and DSs for the longest time. I love Kirby games. So maybe someday I'll want to play it, and it would be better if I could borrow it from a friend to play through it like really quickly. With how shit FromSoft PvP is, it'll be a heyday hearing people complain. I kind of want to play it since they're making a Switch 2 version. Wait, is there new Kirby Racing? Is there new Kirby Racing? You're lying. You're lying. You're lying to me. There's new Kirby Racing?
When purchasing the
Kirby
digital
Racing?
version of a game,
What's it called?
it will be loaded
What's it
onto your
called?
system as a virtual game card,
Answer the question.
allowing you to play that title.
But again, I think this is a very cool system.
Your digital games will be lined up as virtual game cards on a dedicated management screen.
Yeah.
Here, you can load and eject your virtual game cards and manage which games you can play on your system.
I still think it's very cool. It's Kirby Air Ride all the way down. Coke Shaky! Coke Shaky!
If you have two
Air
Nintendo
Riders?
Switch systems, you can eject a virtual game card from one and load it onto the
I
second.
need it! I need it, chat. You don't understand. You don't
Now you
understand
can
my
play
love for
this game
Kirby
on
Air
the
Ride.
second system,
You don't understand my
wherever
love
and
for
whenever you
Kirby
want.
Air Ride.
Just as if you
Oh,
had
I
inserted
need
a
it. I
physical
need it.
game
Oh, okay,
card.
we're gonna go find the trailer for that. I didn't see that.
With
I never saw
virtual
that
game
trailer.
cards,
Nobody else was
you
talking
can
about
freely
it.
load and arrange which games you play on up to 2 systems. Local communication with your second system
How dare you
is
not believe
required,
me? We're
but
gonna look it
only
up
the
after
first
this.
time.
I want to see the trailer. I want to see the trailer for it. Also, my head is like
You can
much
also
further
lend out
turned than it's
virtual
supposed
game
to
cards
be.
to your Nintendo account family group members.
Shit's busted.
Connect to your family group member system via local wireless when you want to lend a game.
Oh,
Choose the title you're lending
oh, it's family. It's not
and
friends.
who
Son
you're
of a
lending
bitch.
it to.
It did say locals, so you do have to be in person too. God damn it.
And you're done.
God
They
damn it.
can now play on their own system.
All right, which one of y'all Nintendo
You
game
can only
addicts
lend
would like
one
to be
game at a
added to my
time
family?
To a particular person.
On my
Games can
Nintendo
be lent
family.
out for 2 weeks, after which they will automatically return to you,
I like
making
the
digital
hold
games
on.
even easier to use. Virtual game card.
Damn it.
Making after which they will
I like hold on. The indication here is that there is like one main console and that everybody else in this family has the fucking Switch Lite. I have my own online.
automatically
Sipples
return to
add
you,
me. Yeah, I only have a few
making
games.
digital games even easier to use.
I have a physical
Virtual
copy of
game
Scarlet,
card.
which is what I've been playing when I play Pokemon. But everything else is digital. My Splatoon, Pokken Tournament, and a bunch of other stuff. All right, what did you say it was called? Kirby Air Riders? Kirby Air Riders. Air Riders! All right. Oh. Mama's coming home, baby. Mama's coming home. Oh, chat, it's over. We're Kirby Air Ride. We're Kirby Air Ride streamer. It's not lustful. It's not lustful. It's yearning. It's yearning. Oh, I need it. Oh, my baby. If I told y'all about how much I played Pokemon Emerald, y'all have no idea how much I played of Kirby fucking Air Ride. I'm so happy. My heart is full. Well, shit, chat. I guess I need to add the Switch 2 to Throne. Oh, yeah. It's a this year release? Oh my god. Kirby, tell me about this. I want to hold it. Oh my god, the fucking ice cream machine. Sorry, the noodle cart. Oh my god. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Oh. I feel like I need to lay on the floor. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Hold on. I now need to go send this to Faye inside because now I'm gonna have to fucking teach them how to play Kirby Air Ride. Where's the fucking share button? Oh, I'm dizzy. Oh my god, I'm so fucking dizzy. Oh my god. Kirby's so powerful, they can make a real person dizzy. And there you have it. The Cardinals already placed multiple orders for the Switch 2 and Kirby Air Ride. Oh no. Oh no. All right, let's go back to the chatting screen. Oh no. Oh no, chat. It's over. It's so jover. Fuck. Oh, that was only a teaser. That was like the smallest of teasers. Fuck you, Mario Kart. I got Kirby Air Ride again. I don't need anything else. It's so adorably wholesome and sweet. I know. I'm so okay. Actually, chat, I want to see what everybody's so excited about this Dustbloods trailer. So we'll actually go back. We'll go back and watch that. I want to see what this game is about. I don't like Souls-likes at all. But everybody and their fucking dog keeps telling me, it's like, oh, you'll love, what is it? You'll love Bloodborne. You'll love Bloodborne. And then now everybody's saying that there's like this new one. Even the slumped in a chair. With a bottle of whiskey in hand. What's next to his leg? Hand. Touch. Damn, I can't wait for Maxor's rendition of this to just be, get your hand off me, woman.
I give you my life.
Huh? But 1800s vampires? Vampires?
And transport him to a night of moonlight.
There's so many vampire games coming out.
Dusk.
That looks gnarly. Good, now go to work. Oh, God. Okay. Also, right here. Hold on. Here, chat. This is the exact moment every fucking gamer that was watching this, every person who isn't a sole Nintendo player, just shit a brick. Right here, this moment. They're like, huh, a vampire game on the Switch from Soft. Hello? Gaming? Yo, the bridge? Rail station? That's a weirdly modern looking train. That was a weirdly modern looking train. Huh. Nintendo fans come again. What? That was a gun. Okay. An Oni? A Tin Man with a jetpack. I don't know where this is going. I don't know where this is going. A Victorian child and a ball. Oh, hello, sir. Why are you naked? Are you gold and naked and covered in bugs? Yo, no fall damage, Pog. Oh, the fuck was that? Hello? Ah, I don't like Toad. I don't like Toad with titties. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta steal that one. I gotta steal that little. Ah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Close your eyes and contemplate now the moon, as befits the soon-to-depart.
I pray that you are
Oh my god, I'm so ready for City Trial and Kirby Air Riders, you guys. So fucking ready. The only games I want for the Switch 2 is the new Pokemon game and Kirby Air Riders. Is that a dinosaur? Hello? Headless Horse? His legs like that. I can see through his legs. I can see through his legs. Okay. Okay. I said robots and dinosaurs too. What the fuck? Okay. Yo, Chakrams? Chakrams? Gravity magic. Sick.
Tears will flow
A Victorian child. The prisoner.
and one alone.
Why he in his PJs? Why he in his PJs? Mary doesn't want to play Mario Kart with chat on the Switch too. Why do we even have game nights in the lounge? We can play Kirby Air Ride. Is that a rat with wings? Magical rat with wings? Available only on the Switch too. Ooh. You woke him from his nap. His nap. All right. Let me see if there's anything else that looks interesting in these thumbnails. What is Switchbrook? Suggestive themes? How suggestive? Eeps. Chucklefish. I haven't heard of this studio before. Oh, it's Pixel. Darn, I thought the cover made it look like it was like it had like a pixel-ish art style, but it was 3D, but I guess not. Oh god, it's Harry Potter. Magic School, does it have better world building than Harry Potter? That's not a lot to ask for, by the way. Right, like it has to be better than Harry Potter. Terraria in space. Oh, I do have Starbound. We played Starbound once on stream. We played it with Geeky. Oh. I mean, it's kind of cute. Dobra? Okay. Ice cream? Flying broom! Meow. Over the hills and far away to Grandma's house we go. Dragon. Okay, it's cute. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I can already see. We're in Holland. Actually, I guess this makes sense. Tulips, a windmill, Ordain. When were you gonna tell us you were in a video game? Silksong does not exist. Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy was a shallow game at best, put into a world that has the shittiest world building imaginable. Yeah, I know Silksong got an announcement date. I don't know. I just don't give a shit about that game franchise at all. Never cared for it. Ordain's a wizard. Of course he's in this game. You never saw me. Get your ass back here. I can't grab you yet. Damn it. I don't think we need to see the Patapon one because it's just Patapon 1 and 2 being released. So, wait, what is Spirit Fair? Oh, wait, hold on. I kind of want to see
Rated
this.
T for teen.
Tobacco use. Donkler. Hi, Donkler. Herb. I swear I've seen a trailer for this before. Yeah, I recognize this character. Didn't we have a trailer for this a month or two ago? Beam Ching! It's over, chat, it's over. When we get that summer outfit, we're probably not gonna be able to get it this summer because I haven't even started the design with Izzy because it's expensive. It's kind of cute. Also, we have a cat that helps us cut trees. Aww. Spirit friends. Aww. It is kind of cute. Spirit SMT? Yeah, I was gonna say, we've seen this game at some point. But we're definitely seeing a lot more now. Because I think before we only got like a preview. A teaser, maybe. But this looks nuts. Oh. Oh. Aw, the little feet kickies. I question the seaworthiness of that ship. It's magic. You don't gotta question shit. Oh no, the porcupine. Oh. No. Oh. No, my heart. I built it with my magic. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh? Huh? Hello? Like that one Pooh Bear gif? Oh my god. Are they... Ah. Wait, that means this game is gonna have a sad ending. That means like the end of this game is gonna be when you've like probably like freed all of the spirits. No! We're gonna spend the whole game building up a big cool boat, and then it's just gonna be us on it at the end. No! You can't do this to me. Oh my god. All right. I don't think there's... Yeah, there's... Have there ever been any horror games for the Switch? There probably have been, but they've probably been like multi-platform games. It's PS1, Marin. Hide the save files. I am corrupting all your save files. Hi, Jay. Hi. How are you doing? Welcome in. Damn, that's actually the first time we've had somebody do the mommy sorry. And Sunstar, what's the counter at? Besides 0 now. Sunstar, do you know the counter? When was the last time we had a first-time chatter that did the mommy sorry thing? That game is beautiful and made me cry. Hardtack. Hi, Delta. Sunstar doesn't even want to try to count. Are you okay, Sunstar? You want to talk about it? And hand on shoulder? You need a hug? You okay? If you need a hug? I promise I won't suffocate you. I can just like, you know, as you do. As you do. Sunstar, I need an answer. Carrie, have you, did you lose, I only track important information. I have no idea. It's been a long time. I think what's weirdly funny is, for a while it was the thing that kept happening. It's probably been over a year since it's happened though. I choose to believe it's because I terrify people. It's been at least 5 days. It's definitely been longer than that because it hasn't happened in recent weeks. But let's go back to the just chatting screen and I can give you all the music back. Yoink. I never kept track either. It's been over a year at least. Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think we were actually keeping track. It's just, it'd be funny to pretend like we were. Like, you know, those places that say like, yeah, we're totally keeping track of when we have accidents for reasons. Totally reasons. Also, you want to know something I realized? We did not reset the fishing game. It's our leaderboard. Sunstar wins again. Damn, that means it's not going to change. Good Lord, Sunstar. Good Lord. Start new leaderboard. 3 days late. And when you do give an answer, Baron calls you weird for knowing? No! It's funny. It's funny that you know. I asked this time because I was hoping you'd make up like a random number. Hold on. The sad thing is I half want to do food, but at the same time, it's Thursday. So I feel like we need to do like some other stuff. Chats. Do we need to go over the JFK files with Wendigoon? I don't know. I don't know if we want to go over the files. But lighthouses and ships, please. Lighthouses and ships. I don't know if I can find something for that. But cryptic last words sent from a world famous yacht. We could do something like that. But the slow painful death of Red Dead Online. What the fuck? What the fuck? I do know there is a creator. There is a creator on YouTube I know that does like marine disaster stuff. Like I recently watched his thing on the Texas Tower 4, I think is what it was. The US surveillance tower out in the middle of the ocean that snapped in half. Look at memes in Discord. What have you done? What have you done? Okay, let me see. Oh my god. Memes, 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 memes. Yeah, hold on. Let's do a little bit of a zoom. Oh my god. Hi, chat. Christ. Oh my god. I never kept track. Been yearly. It's true though. It is. Yeah. Chat, if you're just lurking, I need you to look at the stream. I need you to look at this. You need to see this. This is an S tier meme, okay? Oh my god. Let me also on the other monitor make sure I get words on stream set up for y'all because we have less than a minute till the ad break. And I desperately gotta pee. So help me God. All right. This is going on the fridge. Print it off, put it on the fridge. Hell yeah. I need a shower. Do you feel dirty? Is that why? Is that why? Do you feel dirty now? What do you mean? That's great. It's great. It's fantastic. Because Sony refuses to release Bloodborne? Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny to be the fucking cuck chair. The fucking cuck chair, man. That's an anthropomorphic fic on AO3. I mean, it's made out of Wojaks, so you know. But 43 students go missing. Welcome to Elderfield? Stardew, but it's a horror game. Oh. What is Elderfield? Hold on. Searching. Okay, welcome to Elder. Okay, only the demo is out. Okay, yeah, this is definitely has the corn stalker appears. Why is the corn stalking me? Oh, it's like a mix of Stardew, but also a mix of like World of Horror. Interesting. Very interesting. Exclamation mark fish. You gonna go fimshin again? You're just gonna go fimshin the whole time? All right, there's our ad break, guys. I'm gonna go to my little corner. I need to pee desperately. So I'll be back shortly. I'll leave y'all with the music and the iPad. Don't burn anything down. Don't set anything ablaze. That includes you, Ordain. Have fun. All right, who died? What happened? No one's dead, right? Hello. 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 Addition? I don't think you made it in time. I don't think you did, but you still finished. Congratulations. 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 All right. Music's still loud. I know. I know. You did? Oh, nice. Well done. Very well done. Let me go ahead and shove this over here. I'll go back to see if I can find something. Oh, good lord. But, debunking the internet's most disturbing hoaxes that scared millions? I don't know. That sounds kind of interesting. I don't know. The time we asked Carl Sagan to nuke the moon? What? What?
It's true that reality
Once again, I saved the words. Did you like barely make it through? Is that what happened? Is that what happened? Did you barely make consume? Why consume? Why not grow? Why consume? Why consume? But oh god. No, get out of here. The untold truth of Nintendo? Oh no. Oh no. Oh wait, she has both emotes now? Amazing. I guess she just has the mini emote slots. That's funny. Sick. Sick. But nah, I can't introduce y'all to my Trepang lore videos that I've been watching for so goddamn long. How ghost jobs ruined the labor market? No, okay, that's a little too real. That's a little too real horror. I'm not all in on that. Ghost jobs and labor market's a little too real for my horror taste. As opposed to like, you know, like Ready or Not, where we talk about drug deals and trafficking and stuff. Used to have love hotels. I am not surprised. I did not know that, but I'm not surprised. Really? Did they like sponsor them or like what's the deal? If I went into like one of these love hotels, was there going to be the newest Nintendo console like inside the rooms? Could I spend like the 3 hours that I rented the room for instead of having the schmecks? I could play Schmario instead. The only ghost jobs I want to hear about involve necromancy. The only ghost jobs I want to hear about is working at a like paranormal investigation company. Do I believe in them? No. Is it funny as fuck to tell people historical stories and let them make up whatever opinions they want of it? Yes. Ordain said had not sponsored. Oh. Nuking the moon? Once more, I save the words. Switch it. Want to switch in the Nintendo Love Hotel? They owned them. Christ. Oh yeah, Nintendo was a card company. Hanafuda Cards, cab company, line of love hotels before they got into games. Yep. Yes, the McDonald's Monopoly Mafia. Knew about that already. Wait, are they trying to ban TikTok again? Chat, are they banning TikTok again? I don't have TikTok anymore, but like okay. Always starts by making the family. True. Yeah, definitely true. Oh, okay, gotcha. The pause. Gotcha. Why Katniss Everdeen is one of the best characters ever written, a video essay. No. Are you high? Wait a second. Six Flags Haunted Castle Disaster. Okay. Okay. Chat. Six Flags Castle Disaster. By Fascinating Horror. Why do you think Pokemon has a Pokemon daycare? Schmecks? This sentence angered me. Lamau, which sentence? Yay, no more TikTok until they don't again. True. Oh, tomorrow? Nice. A damn shame I've still been enjoying Xiaohong Shu. I like my red book, okay? I like my little red book. It's fun, it's cute, and it has delicious food on it. You can't stop me. But I can't wait for everyone does the same thing they did the first time all over again because they all went back. Yep. Well, not everybody. There's still a lot of English speakers on the app. I see them pretty frequently. Henry Ford's secrets. No, we're not gonna talk about. And right next, Henry Ford's secrets, and right next to it is the disturbing history of Hotel Henry. Huh. Oh, it's by the same guy that we who calls his wife Baby Ghoul. Y'all remember the Baby Ghoul? The Baby Ghoul? In 1889, of course, they had something to do before video games. Yeah, Hanafuda cards. They're one of the oldest companies in Japan. That's also the crazy thing, too. That, like, there's so many long-running businesses in Japan. It's me, Baby Ghoul. Hi, Baby Ghoul. Oh, goodness. Like, I think there's a hotel in Japan that's been running in the same family for over 1,000 years. Which is batshit. Absolutely fucking batshit. But vapes, a villain origin story. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think I'm gonna sit here and lecture chat like this is Dare, even though I am personally more effective than the Dare program. Check it. Go check my statistics. Go check my statistics. 100% of people that smoke around me get broken noses. Free all expenses paid carnival trip to Japan. Wait, who said that? To ensure survival? Huh? Yeah, America's less than 300 years old. Empire-wise, it's at the end of its span. Country-wise, in terms of history, it's very, very young. Is getting kicked from the government? Good. Technically, Doge isn't even part of the government. Technically. But still over here trying to find dark truth about PayPal. Oh my god. Oh goodness. Sorry about all the yawns, guys. I took melatonin last night, and usually when I take it, like, I fall asleep easier and I stay asleep longer, but when I get up in the morning and I'm supposed to get up and get moving, it's a lot harder. I'm still very tired. Calgoni really made an earworm with their ads. Calgoni? With what is that? Bath suds? Huh? I'm confused. Depends on which Doge you're talking about. The Department of Government Efficiency. Elon Musk's stupid made up group with a bunch of fucking college tech bros. I got ate by a PS1? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I've got a lot of polygons going on here. Let's break out the... Where is it? We'll break out the jacked. We got the jacked. We can just do like, you know, like a little bit. Let me see here. Just do like a turnarounds. Ain't nothing flat about me. Nice. That's a good jacket. And I have a cool undercut. It's great. It's great. And it's only going to be better in Live 2D. Huh? Where y'all looking? What's the deal? Looka, ad quote, ain't nothing flat about me. Ain't nothing flat about me. Hello. Hi, chat. How are you doing? Here, let's just do like a little slide up. Feet. It's funny if I straighten my back a lot, my heels come off the ground. What you looking at, Ordain? Wrong direction. Hi, chat. Ass. Amazing. Amazing. Hey, what you looking at, Ordain? Oh, nothing. Ordain over here just ass. Just straight up booty. This store sells booty. Tippy toes for the top shelf? I'm 6'6". I can reach the top shelf. It's not Tuesday, so we can't do any of the new Dancing Bacon videos, unfortunately. Schnitzel from 1824? Nah. The biggest cheater in Pokemon history was finally caught? What? What? I mean, besides like glitching in Pokemon in games, like what other cheating is there? Have you ever played Balatro? Yeah. Let me give you a... I have 16 hours in Balatro. It's not much, but they're mine. They're all 16 hours are mine. It creates a demand for uppies. That's 6'6" at base. At base. You don't think there's any side shenanigans still, even after 1.0? You can't stop me. Giving Pokemon unnatural talents? What would you describe as unnatural talents? Like a Pokemon that's typically like has higher physical attack, having higher special attack instead? Smoking 100 cigs at once? Oh my god. Higher attack or defense? I suppose that could count, but if it was if the Pokemon had unrealistic stats, usually that shit gets caught at the tournaments. Oh my god, a Weibo.
This is the Awebo bird. That is actually the willow ptarmigan, a bird of the Arctic and subarctic regions. Interesting fact about it is that it changes its feathers seasonally for camouflage. But it is interesting for one more reason. It says Awebo constantly.
Wow.
This is the Awebo bird.
Mental Gin.
That is
Anyway. Sorry, chat. I had to Weibo you. I had to Weibo you. A Weibo. But I'm real. The Antwalkers of Hiroshima? The what? The what? Sorry, jamming. Marin go away though? Oh no. Oh no. Not the Marin go away, bo. Ooh. Hold on a second. Save that for later. Best irredeemable villain? No. Art of the bad guy? No. No. Also, I can't believe Mumei's graduating. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of crazy how resilient fucking Hololive's first generation has been compared to their second English generation. Because what? They're about to lose their third. Oh wait, no, Amelia's gone. I forgot about Amelia. I forgot Amelia has split, if you will. And totally didn't come back as someone else that looks nearly identical, but with a tail. Is not what I thought it would be. What was it? I keep seeing it, but how to create a toxic gaming community. Dead by Daylight. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, wait, well. Mayor's leaving the carnival, so well, time to find a new ringleader. What do you mean? I'm not leaving. What are you on about? I would never. But we are gonna have a summer fit. It's just probably going to be worked on all the way up until next summer because I am almost certainly not going to be able to pay for and get everything working before this summer. It is already fucking April. And Izzy's is probably already going to be pretty expensive just to get the design done. At least it'll be a chunk of money. It'll be a chunk of money. When I get paid this month, depending on how much it is, I'll talk to Izzy about starting to pay it. We're getting a beach episode. You're also gonna learn because it's when I'm gonna be talking about like fish and shit. We'll be doing like more fish-based streams and stuff with it. Maybe even I'll do some like shorter videos or something on like the horrors of the ocean. Not learning. You will learn, Ordain. You will learn. What about your Awebo rebranding though? I mean, that could just be a PNG. That could very easily just be a PNG. But... okay, I think I fucked up by watching Magnate's like thing because he's currently filling so much of my recommended. Annoyingly. No, you can't make me. It's me. I'm the horrors of the ocean. That is true, but you're also the horrors of space. I would happily learn. I love learning random shit. Hell yeah. The Freak Show billionaire, P.T. Barnum. And somebody fucking aged. They took a picture of, oh, God damn it. What is it? I'm brain farting. Hugh Jackman. They took a picture of Hugh Jackman playing P.T. Barnum in The Greatest Showman and like aged him up, and it's kind of scary. I don't like it. What is space if not sky ocean? I'm still waiting for space whales to show up. I'm still waiting for space whales. Phineas Taylor Barnum. Was his middle name Taylor? I thought it was something else. I know it was T. I know it was Phineas T. Barnum. The world's best marshmallows, homemade. Ooh. But it's not what I am aiming for. It's not what I'm looking for. Discord shenanigans, bankrupt Redbox. Fine, let me look at my fucking watch later. What have I saved over the last like several weeks that I keep forgetting to come look at? Insane story of Domino's Pizza. No. That's one of Annie's videos that I've been meaning to watch. The Utah Monolith. No. No. The Smalls Lighthouse. Did we watch that? Did we watch The Smalls Lighthouse? It's showing that I watched it, but I have no memory of it. So I don't throw the rich into space. I don't want to ruin the beauty. True, but the rich have also been continuously polluting low Earth orbit for decades. The Georgia Guidestones. Also, I know we had talked about Nintendo, but have you seen the wheelchair basketball game? No, I haven't. What's it called, Ordain? I almost just bit my tongue. Ooh, that was close. That would have hurt. That would have hurt. But does it count as an ocean without water? It's space is a vacuum, which means it has nothing. Unless you're talking physics, in which case it has something. Which is mostly dark matter. Which is mostly nothing in the perceivable universe. Therefore, there's nothing. You can't breathe out there. You can't breathe in the ocean. There's several unknowns, and NASA has explored both and decided that space is the better venture. Hi, Sloth. How are you doing? That's why you shoot the rich into the sun. No mess left behind. Agreed. Are throwing themselves in space that it's just a snake when space rips them out of their safety bubble? A snake? What do you mean snake? What do you mean snake? Oh, goodness. All the yawns. I see I can't do snack still. Oh, is it snack? Wait, where was it? Don't want to ruin. If the rich are throwing themselves in space, then it's just a snack when space rips them out of their safety bubble. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Listen, I'm tired, Neko. I'm tired, okay? I'm tired, but I promised y'all a show, god damn it. And so help me God, I'm gonna deliver. No, we are not gonna watch restoration of old metal things. Ah, the most terrifying character in history, Judge Holden and Blood Meridian. I don't think chat needs to learn about Judge Holden, the white-faced man. I don't think anybody needs to learn about Judge Holden. Oh, good lord. Drag X Drive? That can't be the name. That's not the name, right? You're lying to me. Oh god, there's a Nintendo page for. Oh my god. Why are their hands so big? Oh my god. Oh, you have to slide the controllers on a surface? Oh. Oh, okay. It's very much a gimmicky game. Looking at it though, it seems like the controls could also potentially work for 3-on-3 sports is coming to Nintendo Switch too. It looks like weirdly the controls could probably also work for like Rocket League. Strangely enough. At least they seem like they could. Drag X Drive. I guess it makes sense. Because you have to drag the controllers on a surface. Yeah, mouse mode for controllers. That is pretty much what it is. The thing is, though, is I don't think the, like, dragging part is actually what makes the controls work. I think it's more like... I think it's just them being, like, parallel versus not parallel is what's going to, like, change the controls. No. De-infantilizing Star Wars. It works. Nice. Nice. Oh, good lord. Rotting Midwest. Backrooms exploring in Chicago. Church, school, and skyscraper. Oh, Jesus. Do we do urban exploration, you guys? Let me do a little bit of hovering here. I'm pretty sure I remember hearing Rotting Midwest before. Well, it does look like they check out some locations. I'll just open it just so that I have it.
That's like some bad.
Shut up. Pretty curious about how functions like clicking the triggers. They don't do anything. That's just it. The buttons and the joysticks don't do anything for this game. It's just the position of how your hands are. You have them, say you put them both on, you're holding the controllers, they're both on the desk in front of you. If you want to move forward, you have to have them even. Like parallel, basically. If you want to turn left, you bring the left stick back and the right one forward. You want to turn right, you bring the left one forward and the right one back. And then to throw, you pick up the controller and flip it. You like flick your wrist, is what it says on the website. The mouse function? I don't think there's... Wait, clicking the... You're saying like if they did do that. If it like functioned like a mouse. Yeah, I think it would probably be something similar to that. Mexico's most disturbing cult. Chat. I don't know who Unnamed is. Chat, do we need a little bit of cult time? Cult time? Cult time, anyone? All right. Listen, we can talk about Mexican cults because they're probably scarier than, I don't know, talking about Chinese cults like we did a couple weeks. Was last week or the week before? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Of, what was it called? Shunyun. Also, YouTube is being a piece of shit with its ads again, and I hate it.
And the bloody cult.
Shut up. Aw, comfy thing. Yeah, it would probably be the triggers. It would be the triggers and like the Z buttons. Premium for the win? Premium? Premium? What about premium? I kind of want to learn about a cult in Mexico, chat. I'm not gonna lie. Are you alright with that? It's time to learn about cults. Time to learn about cults, boys. Put your big boy pants on. We're getting demented. Oh, also all the important captions. I can't read without. I can't hear without my captions. Premium, no more ads.
Worst thing I've had to deal with in all my years.
Huh?
In 1961, outsiders would arrive in the Mexican village of Yerba Buena.
Ah, yes,
and
outsiders.
Over the next 2 years, the lies these people told would snowball into sacrifices to forgotten gods and the eventual massacre of the village by the authorities. The internet has been telling the story incorrectly since the turn of the century. This is the true story of Yerba Buena and the bloody cult which led to its destruction.
That's a bold claim, sir. Everybody else is wrong but me. Okay. Okay. Bold stance. I'll take your word for it right now. I will push the... Oh, Jesus, that's loud. I will push the suspension of disbelief a little bit further. Go on. Also, hold on. I need to do some tracking shenanigans. I want like here. There we go. That's a little bit better.
The small indigenous farming community of Yerba Buena was truly remote. It had no roads.
This is from Faith. Yeah, the style seems very much like Faith adjacent.
Native Mexican
I need
farmers.
water.
The only way in or out of Yerba Buena was through a rough beaten cart track, which led to a distant highway. It was upon this track in 1961 that newcomers appeared in Yerba Buena.
Oh,
The two
wow,
would
it is
surely
way
be the
off.
first outsiders to set foot in the village unannounced in living memory, situated at the base of Cerro
Hold
El
on.
Pil-
In living memory? In living memory. Unannounced. That's... Wait, what year was this? Does anybody remember what the starting year was? I don't remember. We'll
As
probably hear it in a
was, you
second.
couldn't simply stumble across the village. These people had come here with a purpose.
Well, yeah,
Magdalena
tiny
and
village
Elizar Solis
on a
were
mountainside.
fraternal twins. Born in 1945, they were only 16 years old when they ventured out of the tree line into Yerba Buena. They had grown up in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, where they had learned about Spiritism, the religious study of the supernatural.
Oh, no.
Spiritism
Oh,
is
no.
deeply rooted in the indigenous
Chat.
people of Mexico.
Chat. 1940s spiritualism in Mexico. If you know American spiritualism, it's fucked. If you want to know Mexican spiritualism, it's worse. It's so much worse. Faye, do I need to get you in here? Do you want to join? Do you want to join in the 1940s Mexican spiritualism? The question isn't what can the organs of a goat teach us? It's how many organs. I'm having dinner. Enjoy your dinner time.
During
That
the
is
Mexican
okay.
Revolution at the beginning of the 20th
What are you having for
century,
dinner?
Spiritualism
I'm trying to figure out what I'm
and
doing for dinner
Spiritism
tonight.
became inseparable from the anti-government
I'm thinking
revolutionary
chicken.
movement. Francisco I of
Thinking
Madero,
chicken.
founder of the anti-reelectionist party and the man credited
kinda wanna
with
make
starting
it.
the Mexican Revolution, was a spiritist.
I think
and
I actually have
medium.
some chicken breast in the freezer.
1911, he published the
Baked chicken and
Spiritist Manual,
potatoes.
based
Ooh.
upon his spiritist teachings in France, and claimed he started the Mexican Revolution upon guidance from the spirit.
I'm sorry, what? Hold on, go back.
First of Madero, founder of the anti-re-electionist party and the man credited with starting the
Anti-re-electionist?
Mexican Revolution, was a spiritist and medium. In 1911, he published the Spiritist
He was a
Manual,
what? And
based
a
upon his
what?
Spiritist teachings in France, and claimed he started the Mexican Revolution upon guidance from the spirit. In his
What?
writings, he describes the true Mexican religion from antiquity, and argued that the Catholicism that replaced it had become an instrument of domination over the people of Mexico.
I mean, yeah, he's kind of right, but I don't think what he was trying to bring was the like original, you know, probably wasn't the original teriyaki chicken pizza for me. Oh,
Spiritists believed that the
teriyaki
original
chicken.
ancient religion of Mexico had been preserved, its teachings passed down to a select few, with the goal of one day overthrowing Catholicism and returning the religion of their ancestors to the Mexican people.
I don't know about that, bud. I don't know. You sounded like you thinking all the people that lived in Mexico prior to the arrival of the white man was homogenous. Historically, we already know that there was multiple indigenous borderline empires. I don't know about that whole original religion kind of thing.
Magdalena and Elizar Solis left Monterrey together in 1961, traveling south between small indigenous communities.
What the?
They used the beliefs of these
What
people
is this
to their
graphic?
advantage by claiming to be adepts of the true religion, instilling its teachings
Adepts
as a way
of the true
selling food
religion?
and shelter from these communities before slipping away. Emboldened by the
Wait
success
a
of these
minute.
communities,
Listen, I guess you get your graphics where you can. In this case, it's taking the Fruit of the Loom logo, apparently. Anyway, moving on.
slipping away. Emboldened by the success of their scam, they traveled into Tamaulipas.
Listen, maybe I don't need to
the
beat
village
myself
of
up over
Yap Zone,
videos so much.
Orchestrate something more long-term.
I need to find
They again
assets. I need to put
presented
work into
themselves
finding
as adepts
assets.
of the
This
old
dude just,
religion.
Fruit of the Loom will do it.
Reincarnation is a core part of Mexican Spiritism, and so Magdalena played the part of a reincarnated faith healer and mystic, whilst Elizar was the reincarnation of St. Francis of Assisi.
What? No. Go back. Scam communities before slipping away.
Of their scam, they traveled into Tamaulipas, to the village of Yerba Buena, to orchestrate
Okay.
something more long-term. They again presented themselves as adepts.
It
of the
does
old
look like a
religion.
luchador mask.
Reincarnation
Now, the other
is
one
a
was
core
Aztec.
part
The other
of
one did look kind of
Mexican
Aztec.
Spiritism, and so Magdalena played the part of a reincarnation as
Wait.
a core part of Mexican Spiritism, and so
They claimed reincarnation was. Okay, sure.
Magdalena played the part of a reincarnated faith healer and mystic, whilst Elizar was the reincarnation of St. Francis of Assisi.
Was she just like, just any faith healer? Just some random one? No name? While this guy is apparently a Catholic saint reincarnated? That's a... I don't know. I don't think being a Catholic saint and being reincarnated are really typically something that falls under Catholic doctrine.
The twins would slowly reveal the true ancient religion to the farmers of Yerba Buena.
And
How their
did they
ancestors had
slowly
believed that the
reveal
civilizations of
or
ancient
make up?
Mexico, that of the Aztecs and Toltecs, had been older and even more advanced than the ancient Egyptians.
Huh? Cough, bullshit cough, yeah.
In the beginning, very little had changed in the twins' scam. They asked for food and shelter, preying upon the generous hospitality of the villagers.
Okay.
Magdalena and Elizar slowly drip-fed the farmers information about their supposed identities and their knowledge of the old gods.
I am actually a
Scam allowed
faith
them to
healer.
extract many more
You should
resources from the
respect
villagers
me.
than they were willing to spare. The twins
Chat, did I ever tell you I was a psychic and I can break your legs with my mind, therefore you should give me all your money? Don't actually do that. Don't actually do that. I'm lying. I'm full of shit. But if anybody ever said that and they were like, if somebody came to me and they were like, Destin was like, okay, yeah, I'll help you. And then halfway through they were like, I'm a faith healer in like a bid to like try and get more attention. My ass to be, no. You can leave now. You may go.
knew
Bye.
that there would be a point when the villagers discovered their dishonesty and the hospitality strained as it was, would come to an end.
Strained as it was.
They planned on staying much longer. When the
Wait.
farmers, however, this time they planned on staying much longer.
Oh, even
When
after
the
they got
farmers
fucking
began
told
asking for
off?
more substantial evidence from the twins, they agreed to perform an ancient ritual to prove their supposed identities. The twins' ritual involved the theatrical brewing of a potion.
What the fuck?
Which they claimed
I feel
had the
like that's very
supernatural
Mega
power to
Pastor.
grant
Yeah. Oh,
visions.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But in reality, it was laced with marijuana. They convinced the villagers to drink this potion. Now
Wait, where did they
drugged
get
and in
it?
a more suggestible state, the sober twins would continue to reinforce and convince the villagers of their lies. This proved to be a powerful and effective technique.
Oh, yes. Drug coercion.
Every time
Thanks,
the villagers began to
Outlast.
doubt the lies of Magdalena and Elizar Solis, the twins would develop new rituals to quell the disbelievers, each time upping the stakes.
The
They began
state or
with
the
an amendment
stakes?
for the first ritual, the addition of animal blood to the ingredients of the drugged potion. Next, they incorporated elaborate costumes into the rituals, covering themselves in body paint and feathers, imitating the clothing of ancient Aztec priests and priestesses.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that
Two groups
headdress.
began
It's a
to
good
form in
headdress.
Yerba Buena, those who believed Magdalena and Elizar, and those villagers who still had their doubts. In the spring of 1962,
yes, time for the
twins ordained
otherism.
2 of the most faithful villagers to help them perform rituals and to act as muscle to extract tributes from the non-believers. They chose
Swirly
the brothers
pot.
Santos and Cayetano Hernandez, who had grown up in Yerba
Wait,
Buena.
what was that? Hold
They
on.
chose the brothers Santos and Cayetano Hernandez.
Oh, not actually them. I was like, I saw that blink there. What are you doing? Not actually them. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Who'd grown up in Yerba Buena.
Just take these
Like all
random
of those in
guys'
the farming
likeness.
community, the brothers toiled endlessly, day in, day out, in the fields surrounding the village. With little else to do, the brothers had welcomed
Is that
the arrival of
gunfiring?
Magdalena and Elizar Solis. They readily drank the drugged potion and deeply believed the twins' lies and in their fabricated power. The Hernandez brothers were cruel and enjoyed exerting their newly found authority over the non-believers. With the extra manpower, Elizar,
I don't know how I
aided
feel
by
about the
brothers,
graphics for this
constructed
thing.
a
I think it's starting to
temple
give me a
for the rituals
headache.
high in the mountain caves above
I think it's the
Yerba Buena.
glow.
They erected a wooden dais around a flat stone slab to act as an altar,
Uh-oh.
with a thatched roof supported by 4 wooden pillars.
In a cave?
The villagers would make the trek through the jungle and into the cavern to watch the nightly rituals.
Nightly? They were doing this every night. What is God to a non-believer?
The twins now lived lavishly, aided by the
Christ.
additional protection provided by the Hernandez brothers. However, a conflict of interest began to grow between the twins and their newly ordained.
Hold on a second. Where did he get this graphic? Why did he start using this graphic all of a sudden and not the other ones? Did he purposely save these for now?
Santos and Cayetano. While the Solis twins' goal was to draw out the scam for as long as possible, the Hernandez brothers wanted only to increase the following and influence of the fledgling cult.
Oh.
The twins couldn't be seen as limiting the growth of the cult, especially since the brothers kept urging them towards even greater and greater.
I don't think this footage is the cult themselves. I think this is just a Mexican historical movie. I think this is just like one of those like reenactment movies. I'm pretty sure this is what he's using as B-roll because I don't think this is the actual
This
cult.
conflict between the priests and their teenage leaders would come to a head.
They're what? They're teenage leaders. Teenaged.
At the end of
Okay.
April 1962.
Oh right, the twins were teenage at this time, weren't they? Willing what? Willing what? Hello?
As night fell upon Yerba Buena, the villagers made the usual trek through the forest, up the mountain path to the cavern.
With the
There,
totally
Magdalena,
not dinkiest
Elizar,
fucking
Santos,
oil
and
lantern I've ever
Cayetano
seen.
were gathered beneath the thatched roof of their makeshift temple, garbed in the body paint and feathers of ancient Aztecs.
Oh,
As before, they drugged the villagers, who willingly drank the Solis twins' potion of blood and marijuana, as they had become addicted to the concoction over the course of many rituals.
Jesus, what else was in
Cayetano
there?
stepped to the front of the dais and quieted the crowd. He
Don't want
called
folks
for a
sobering up now,
volunteer,
do we? Apparently
someone
not.
to offer themselves as a willing sacrifice
Apparently
to the
not.
old gods. Cayetano promised that whoever they sacrificed
Oh.
would ascend to the realm of gods, to live with them for eternity.
If anybody... Oh, weed, this is a joke? Oh my god. If anybody makes you a promise that sounds like dying is better than living, they're lying to you. They want something out of you, or they want you gone. That's all that ever means.
See.
They get something out of you dying,
from the
or
testimony of those who had survived the
they
sacrifices
want you
and bloodshed
gone.
yet to come. One of the villagers
Yeah.
offered themselves willingly at the very
I know.
first sacrifice. So powerful were the drugs and
I am
lies
well
of the
aware,
Source
Neko.
Twins that the villagers of Yerba Buena were willing to lay down their lives.
If they attempt to convince you that there is guaranteedly something better afterwards, they want what you have now. Guys, don't you understand? This is a blip in existence. After whatever hellscape this planet is, we're all gonna ascend to godhood and have our own planets where everybody's happy. Totally. Tommy!
This world is what you need.
Now's my turn for crime brulee. No! Chat, get the torches! Chat, get the torches. You can't let them crime brulee us. You have to crime brulee we have to crime brulee ourselves. Go get them. What the church wants are money. Welcome in, Tommy. How are you doing? What trouble did you get into? Oh shit, a raid takeover? Yeah, apparently. What were you yapping about? What trouble were you getting into? What shenanigans were you up to? Did you have a good stream? Wait, who am I setting on fire? Tommy. You, them, or me? Tommy. About DK having pants? Were you the one that was yelling about DK having pants earlier? Or was it somebody else? I only care about Kirby Air Riders, please and thank you. I am finally getting my 20 plus years what's the word? Prize for being a good little potato. So now I am finally getting Kirby Air Riders. I'm getting my sequel to Kirby Air Ride. I think I'm definitely getting Kirby Air Riders. I was saying earlier, as soon as I don't think there's a single game out there that can convince me to buy the Switch 2 just yet. And then somebody was like, do you see there's going to be another Kirby Air Ride game? And I proceeded to lose my shit. And I'm pretty sure nobody in chat clipped it. How could you? So what if they start giving Kirby pants? I don't think it would make a lot of sense to give Kirby pants. What do you mean not yet? All right. But welcome in, guys. We're currently hanging out. We're watching a video on a Mexican cult. Currently, we're in the year about, it's like 1972, I think is what it was. From the point of view of a couple twins who have started they basically wandered out to a village in the middle of fucking nowhere, emphasis on the middle of fucking nowhere, and started to convince these people that they were reincarnated. One was the faith healer and one was Saint Francis. I don't know anything about Saint Francis off the top of my head. He wears shoes, that's enough. I think in some of his like powers he wears shoes, but typically he doesn't. His feet are actually just pinker than him, like darker pink than his body.
Elena and Eliza.
Are you willing to die?
Guided the unfortunate farmer to the altar and
if I die for anyone, I'm dying for me.
The Hernandez brothers then made quick and gruesome work of the individual. Santos and Cayetano
sorry.
the body and removed the victim.
Sorry, chat. They are in fact getting to a human sacrifice. Yippee.
Victim still beating hard.
They were? Kirby's feet were yellow? I don't think they were.
After their murderous fervor subsided, Cayetano and Santos collected the victim's
I could have swore they were still light pink body, darker pink feet.
The animal blood.
Tree Kicker, thank you for New Year's Season Pass.
The potion was once again passed round.
Yes, the marijuana potion.
The sacrifice's corpse was carried to the corner of the cave and set alight.
Oh, in the cave.
Twins' grasp had become so powerful upon
with all the
farmers
smoke
of Yerba Buena that the villagers were now content and complicit
oh,
with murder.
Oh, why did my tracking
cannibalism.
reset? What the hell?
And if they had any doubts or reservations, none were willing to speak out, at least for the next 12 months. During this
another
time,
year. Hi, Astral. How are you doing?
Enter the cave and emerge one fewer in number. Few eyewitness testimonies remain. Those that do describe a tragic and horrifying series of events, in which, without fail, every month for a year, a willing sacrifice stepped forth from the crowd and towards that bloody altar. The Solis twins had lost control of the lies they told, soon to owe the lives of at least 15
How many people were in this village again? What was the original population? Truth, May 31st, 1963. Oh, I thought we were in the 70s. I could have swore he had a count up that went up to the 70s.
The villagers of Yerba Buena made their way through the jungle to the mountain cave for the monthly sacrifice. The villagers consumed the ritual potion.
His shoes are just a darker pink, Ordain.
Called forth their final victim. From within the crowd of adult farmers, Selena Silvana volunteered herself. However, just before she reached the altar, finally, after months of silence, someone spoke out. Hector Solis, Selena's, quote, childhood sweetheart, could no longer bring herself to sit idly by as these executions occurred. He caught up to her right before the dais and confronted Selena, desperately trying to intervene.
This is direct testimony of Police Inspector Aldelardo, something?
But she wouldn't listen to him. She wanted to be sacrificed straight to a god, to live in guaranteed bliss forever.
This is a hell of a reading.
Picked up a stone and gave it to him, begging him.
What the fuck? Dropping! Thank you for renewing your tier 3. Holy shit. And you started a hype train. Where did you do this? How could you? Also, wait, did I say thank you to Tree Kicker? I'm pretty sure I did say thank you to Tree Kicker. They already exist, Retro? All right, hold on. I need to do a thing. I need to change some things. Ooh. Never mind. I'll leave that open. And then let me go. Never mind. Nobody else is doing much of anything. Huh. Okay. But thank you for doing your season pass, guys.
She struggled. She fell. And the others rushed in on them, knocking Hector out and pelting Selena with stones until she was senseless.
Senseless or dead?
Hector had come to his senses, it was too late. Cayetano and Santos had dragged Selena's body atop the altar and removed her heart. Enraged and grief-stricken,
why does it keep resetting when I look to the right? What the fuck is happening?
To reach and kill the Hernandez brothers.
Is my head like too far to the side?
Avail. Selena was well and truly dead. Hector departed from the cave.
Does it just not like it? What's the deal? What's the issue?
Blood and to burn the
Talk to me, phone. Tap, 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 tap.
He returned to his wife and 4 children in the village.
Is that Danny Trejo AI audio? God, I hope not.
At dawn, Hector left Yerba Buena and headed towards the nearest police department in Villa Gran, where he met with police inspector.
Sorry about the weird shit going on, guys.
Gomez. Inspector Gomez asked Hector to record
and then here's the inspector.
As cultists as possible and wrote them down.
I still feel like I'm too far to the side. Hold on.
Yerba Buena as if nothing had happened, while Inspector Gomez collected his men and prepared for a raid.
That's
when
better.
When Hector returned to Yerba Buena, the Hernandez brothers were waiting for him.
I don't know Danny Trejo's voice fully off the top of my head.
The authorities were on their way. Inspector Gomez gathered his men
remove Kirby's
and started the trek.
Feet all together, just a blob.
And Santos
already exists. Stretch of more ball than a blob. He does have a ball power.
Police poured into the farming community through the rough-beaten cart track. And Cayetano came out to meet them. Inspector Gomez questioned Cayetano from a distance, demanding to know what was truly going on in Yerba Buena.
Care to explain?
Cayetano claimed
to explain?
And to be but a simple farmer, but Gomez wasn't fooled so easily.
He told me he was a farmer, like all the rest. I have not been a rural policeman for long years for nothing. I knew he was lying. I told Luis Martinez, one of my men, to take him in for questioning. When Martinez stepped forward, Cayetano brought out his machete fast as lightning and nearly cut Martinez's head off, killing him instantly.
But did he?
Cayetano could make it halfway back to the hut from which the cultists were mounting their defense, police had filled him with lead. He wanted Santos and the others to return fire. Gomez instructed
Wait, how many guns would you have out in rural Mexico in the 60s?
Bullets ripped through the thin walls of the hut in both directions.
In a village that was essentially almost completely isolated.
Approached the hut.
We systematically shot up the mud hut so that no one inside could stay alive.
Oh.
When we went in,
they
were all on the floor, dead. Santos with them.
caught in the crossfire a boy called Sebastian Guerrero.
No! Oh, god damn it! Why did it reset again?
By the end of the day, Gomez had taken 40 prisoners and captured Magdalena and Elisa.
Why do you keep going the fuck to sleep?
In the cave above the village, the police found, piled in the corner, the remains of all 13 victims, including
all of them were still there
Selena from the night before.
It's not like I'm leaning over or anything.
It was the worst thing I've
23 Void!
All my years.
Wogue. Wogue.
Nothing can surprise me.
The phone? What phone?
Upon questioning the detainees, it was discovered that the cult has spread to the neighboring village of Delgado.
No, it keeps...
Realizing the situation was too large for the small local police
is
station,
like...
the inspector called in.
My battery's not dying. I'm checking to see if it's like overheating. It's a little warm.
Charged and found guilty
I don't think it's overheating.
Whilst the twins were held as the police continued to gather more evidence and dismantle what was left of the cult.
We must dismantle them! The phone is tired. Let it sleep. Mayhaps.
When I first approached this video topic, the themes and outline of the video were completely different from those of the final product. The more research I did into this cult, the more I came to realize that the internet's modern retelling of the story is so far removed from the ground truth that the two are now becoming almost indistinguishable.
Wait, how did they...
With the Wikipedia entry for Magdalena Solis,
how do they
article
tell the story?
As follows. Magdalena Solis, known as the High Priestess of Blood, allegedly was a Mexican serial killer and cult leader, responsible for orchestrating murders which involved the drinking of victims' blood.
I mean, if you count the sacrifices, I guess.
As one of the few documented instances of a sexually motivated female serial killer, showing organized, visionary, and hedonistic characteristics.
Huh? What? Where did that shit come from?
These stories depart from each other now.
Baron.
Most sources online don't even mention her brother.
Set a passcode after an update and a few updates after that and reset my Siri voice? What the fuck?
Martano and Santos. These same sources fixate themselves on the supposed sexual aspect.
Maybe it's losing tracking because I'm sitting too still when I'm looking at these things.
On Magdalena's sexuality.
Huh? Hi, Dark. Welcome in.
She was just 16 when the cult began. They claim that Magdalena was a prostitute from Monterrey. And when the Hernandez brothers began to lose control of the cult, they traveled from Yerba Buena to Monterrey to recruit her. This seems very unlikely, as Monterrey is over 148 kilometers away from Yerba Buena and across state borders. The actual position of Yerba Buena is also of some debate. The Wikipedia article claims it's in San Luis
is Yerba Buena gone now?
It was initially very difficult to track down its actual location, but Yerba Buena, Villagran, and Delgado are all in Tamaulipas. Looking at the edit history
just south of Texas,
page, we find that most of it was copied over from the Spanish language
I guess.
on August 3rd, 2021.
Swine.
Interestingly, while the Spanish page includes the correct location for Yerba Buena, this detail wasn't copied over to the English site. The Spanish page itself has changed very little since it was created. It's initially cited only 2 blog style sources.
No one touches my Australian Siri voice too and gets away with it? Jesus.
Both these sources retell the incorrect version of the tale, but allow us to date with some degree of confidence
higher hooker
origin.
What year is it?
Online version.
Oh, never mind. It's the 60s. Never mind. That makes sense.
Was a newspaper clipping from Texas, the Valley Evening Monitor, which was dated.
I don't know. It's always been a funny word to me.
1963, 1 month after the final sacrifice and raid took place. It reports the 12 members of the cult were eventually found guilty
now I
of
sit.
murder.
Womp. Enjoy your seat, Boyd.
Started by the twins and not the Hernandez brothers. There is no mention here of the supposed sexual aspect of the cult. 1 year later, in 1964, an American called Bill Starr travels to Mexico and interviews an Abelardo G. Gomez about a case he had read about in American newspapers. Inspector Gomez relayed to Bill Starr how Magdalena and Elisa Solis started the cult in the nearby village of Yerba Buena, and how, after years of lies, they lost control of this cult.
Does the village still exist or not?
Bill Starr would then write up and send this story to Curtis and Mary Fuller, owners of Fate magazine, which published quote, true stories of the strange and the unknown. Starr's interview of Gomez was later reproduced in 2002.
Late 1900 magazines are crazy.
The Mammoth Book of Women Who Kill. This is where I first found Starr's tale.
Oh.
Whilst it's difficult to say for sure whether Bill Starr's interview of Gomez is the absolute truth of the matter, after months of research, I can say it's the most trustworthy source existing on the internet. In comparison to
Wait,
sources
the
like
book is?
Crimes of the 20th Century Iconology, quote,
Hey, I know that dork in the bottom left.
Cayetano convinced lesbian prostitute Magdalena Solis and her homosexual brother Elizar come to Yap.
This feels like slander. This feels like an attempt at like defamation. Oh, okay, that was that was the ending. I was like, wait, did something happen? Because the bar went from nothing to being completely filled. I was like, oh. Her minds? What is this emote? Such a weird emote. Okay.
Buena to participate in the
Oh,
mountain
here's
cave
the
rites.
ad break. Oh no.
In the midst of this spirited emotional rite, High Priest Santos Hernandez sexually purified a teenage
60s,
girl,
you were such a
Selena
wonderful time, I
Salvana.
guess.
Magdalena Solis watched the intimacies between Santos and Selena, which stimulated her own desires for the girl. Santos then passed the young Selena to Magdalena, while Elizar and Cayetano, who also preferred males, took advantage of the boys in the assemblage.
Oh yes, guys, don't you know that in the 60s, if you started a cult and were killing people, it was because you were a homosexual. That is the fact. It is a fact. It is because you are a homosexual. Obviously. Obviously. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. But okay. Okay, sure.
I mean, that's some absolutely insane homophobic nonsense.
Don't mix your sexuals with your cults. That never ends well. I mean, it can happen. Like there are some cases of like dudes basically starting cults to get laid and or devolving into just so that they could get laid. Like, what's his name? Faye may remember if Faye's still listening. The leader of that one Japanese cult at one point just started moving women up into his higher ranks so that he could bed them. And that they genuinely believe that they would have like the son of God. They'd have like the children of God if they did. It happens all the time, but it's not usually game is game. Wait, what? Game is game? Okay, hold on. Sorry. I was looking to see if there was anything on the side that looked interesting. But I don't see one. But so we have Chicago Exploration. I think this one's a little too long though. I think we'll do the exploration. I think we'll do this. What the fuck is this? Inside, when does the immersive Titanic exhibit open in Denver? What the fuck is this doing over here? Get this shit out of here. Arrested while I don't know. Hold on. Is this guy doing the same thing that Paranormal Twinks do? Oh wow. I'm gonna guess this guy got arrested. Yeah, this guy basically looks like he just did backroom gimmicks. Maybe I don't want to do this video. Maybe I don't. See, all of these are reasons not to mix your sexuals with your cults. Always bad news? Correct. That is absolutely correct. You should not mix your sexuals with your cults. You're always going to end up with a bad time. If you're going to have a cult that does drugs, don't do sacrifice or sexual things. Just be a couple weirdos. Well, you could probably honestly kind of do some cults, like some sacrifice stuff. It's kind of fun that way. You know, in moderation, okay? In moderation. You got to be careful with it. Tracy Parks? Isn't Tracy Parks the one kid that like ran and hid from Jonestown? I think she was. And I think we're about to have an ad break, so let me... Yeah, ad break is going to be starting soon, guys. I'm going to give you this while I find something else for us to go over. It's just a regular location. It just doesn't work. Yeah. We're here to have fun and a good time. I don't sell drugs. I sell a good time in murder. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. You'll be fine. You'll pull yourself together in no time. Don't worry about it. But I'll be back in just a minute. Y'all don't burn anything down, especially Ordain. You're not allowed to burn anything down right now, Ordain. But I will be back shortly. All right, guys. Hopefully my neck's not broken. Not broken! Let's go. Let's go. Go down. Let me reduce the sound of the music. In maybe fake. Born. Robbery. Robber. I think the Y is fake, maybe. Oh, no, it was the word. Weird. I don't know why that didn't work before. Sorry, I stole that one. Ripped it right out of your hands. It's mine now. It's mine. All right. Let me go ahead and put... Oh. Oh, gonna go ahead and delete that. That was my webcam that was pointing at my hands. Man cheated. She can actually type. What do you mean? Listen. That's cheating. You know how to spell. Oh my God. Sneak hand cam, the true horrors, the surprise hand cam. Nobody wants a surprise hand cam, okay? Listen, at some point I want to have a better setup with a better camera before we start doing like hand cam shit. The biggest lie in video game? This is not water? What? I mean, probably. I mean, that's the point. When are we continuing Dishonored? Probably after we finish Prey. If not next week. Prey is going to be tomorrow. We could either do Dishonored Monday or Friday. Gotta buy Marin the camera on throne, or better yet, red camera for webcam. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if red cameras can do live video. That'd be insane, though. That'd be fucking insane. It has to be. If you can do it with other cameras, you could probably do it with a red camera, I'm sure. That's fucking ridiculous. Okay. So I have a couple things open, chat. I have one that is about a, quote, madness at sea. That is apparently a pretty decent length video. Or it's about a story about a man that goes mad at the ocean. Or we can watch the history of Slender Man. We can do a classic. Do we want to learn the history of Slenderman? Or do we want to learn about madness at sea? Why no arson? I'm specifically banning you from arson because it's funny when you're not allowed to. It's funnier when you're not allowed to, Ordain. For the bit! It's all for the bit. Also, I've been meaning to click that emote. Is that? Oh no, that's cakes. Okay, it's a bird. At a distance, it looked like Braingeddon's like little miniature version. Slenderman, cryptids for the win. Would be interesting since I missed it. Slenderman is not a cryptid. Slenderman is a fucking character. He's not a cryptid. He's a made up character. Off the top of people's head. It's Dave. Is his name Dave? Oh, it is Dave. His name is in fact Dave. Oh my goodness. Can we learn how to cake? Would you like to learn how to cake on Tuesday, Sunstar? Do we want to learn how to cake on Tuesday? Next Tuesday? Would be interesting since I missed that portion of the internet growing up. We can do that. Made up characters. Kind of, sort of, but in the sense that like Bigfoot, skunk apes, Mothman have like a legend and visuals behind them that people supposedly saw it in real life. Slenderman has always been either a creepypasta or a game character. He's always been a Photoshop job slammed into dark, spooky wood pictures. Man Bear Pig? Yeah, he's basically a meme that took off in the same way that Man Bear Pig is in South Park. Although South Park did end up finding Man Bear Pig was real, so like, how about some ocean cryptids like the bloop? The bloop is based off of the audio of the bloop, a loud, obnoxious sound that was found to likely not be a whale, but in order for something to make that sound, it had to be several times larger than a whale. It's based off of a noise that was heard in the ocean with no definitive evidence of what it actually is. And the only thing that people could think, unless it was like at the time, like, I don't know, Russia, like testing weapons or something. Another who knows the skunk ape? Yeah, you mean the Florida Bigfoot? The stinky Florida Bigfoot? Hi, Marceline. All right, no more music. Time to learn about Slenderman, nerds.
If I were to ask you who the most iconic horror character ever is, what would you say? Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, or maybe even Pennywise the Clown? You've got quite a few options.
Myers.
There, right? But what if I were to ask you the same question again?
Don't say Herobrine.
The most iconic internet horror character instead.
Okay, be Jeff. It'd probably be Jeff.
You would most likely
Sonic.exe.
only one of two characters, those being Freddy Fazbear or the
My
main
God.
man of this video, the Slender Man.
Hi, buddy. I remember playing this game when it came out.
I don't think there's a single character who's had as much.
Yes, the updated version when we got a house.
Slender Man had. And even after 15 years, as of this video's release, he remains one of, if not...
It came out in 2009! Ah! Why? Snakeaging.gif. Oh, God. Oh, no. Your age is showing again? No, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. No, you can't do this. You can't do this to me. How could you? I'm not that old. I still got it. I kind of know what it is. Pretty sure I still got it. Oh, well, I guess I'll just have to do what chat doesn't like, and that's go smaller. Here we go. Fantastic. Anyway.
The most recognizable horror characters.
Oh, wait, no, I can't turn Black's Clear off on this model.
Over
Damn
the years,
it.
there has been no shortage of internet horror characters who managed to make a name for themselves.
Who the fuck is the unibrow dude? I think that's the flesh that hates in the bottom right. Abandoned by Disney, Smiling Dog, Squidward Suicide, Russian Sleep Experiment, Demon Tales for some reason, Mothman, I guess. I guess this clown on the left is supposed to represent the clown craze of 2017. Name a 20-year-old game console. Super Nintendo, not PlayStation 3. Stop. 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 Cease. I don't know what this fleshy face thing is over here. There's a pig for some reason, a skeleton with a skin hat. I see Sonic EXE way down here at the bottom. I think that's a fucked up Pinkie Pie above me, right next to the peanut. I like the peanut. I miss the peanut. Is that Mr. Creepypasta? That looks like Mr. Creepypasta. Huh. Hey, chat. You want a fun fact? You want a fun fact? Nice. 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 Now I just need to work up the balls to ask him if he needs an extra voice for a video. Right there. Right there. He follows me. He follows me. He's nice. He's pretty neat. Oh, and he's live right now. Also neat. All right, Slenderman time.
In terms of mainstream relevancy, Slenderman.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's early Mr. Creepypasta.
At any point during the early 2010s,
this is back when I used to watch you.
It's impossible for you not to have come across him at one point. This guy was everywhere. Games.
Was that the annoying orange? Hey, Maren, the N64 is from 1997. I never had an N64. I only played my cousins when we would go on vacation.
Video, memes.
Let's say that's
there was no getting
Epic
around
Rabbit.
this guy.
However, wait, I want to see that one again.
Artwork, you name it. There was no getting around this guy. However,
I'm not gonna lie, chat. I'm gonna tell you the cringiest thing.
Video.
Here,
memes,
back to this real quick.
Artwork, you name it. There was no getting around.
I had this same skin suit. I had the same suit. Granted, mine fit way better than this dude that like feels like he's a flesh puppet shoved inside and broken to make it fit. But I had one of these. I spent like $40 to get it. And then when I put it on, I realized the company who made it so cheaply that if you stood in any amount of light, you could see straight through the white top. You could see any person's face through the mask if you wore it, and I was so pissed. Part-time job school to get enough money to save for the SNES? Wow. From the Spectrum retreat, and that scares me. Oof. Oh, big oof. I never wore it after. I bought it, tried it on, and felt so disgusted with myself that I never wore it.
However,
it was supposed to be my Halloween costume, and then I
apart from
didn't.
Very few exceptions here and there, he's practically nowhere to be found.
Nee.
Aside from a remake of Slender the Arrival in 2023, the last relevant thing that was released for the franchise was the 2018 movie.
The last relevant thing for the franchise, no, it was 2 kids killing their classmate for the Slender Man. That was the last relevant thing. I'm pretty sure. I forget what year that was.
And that was painful, to say the least. So how did this happen?
Oh yes, the movie
was once so popular end up fading into irrelevancy like this? Well, today, to celebrate Slendy's 15th birthday, I'd like to take you on a little journey
How old is this video again?
Of the Slender Man, from his creation all the way to his downfall, to find out exactly.
Was that the movie? Oh, that looked horrible. What the fuck? Chat, I also gotta pee again.
2009, the first year of Obama's presidency.
Chat, I gotta pee again. Can I give you another round of words on stream and leave you with the corpse for a little bit? Is that all right? I need to pee. I thought I was gonna be able to hold it through, but we're only like a couple minutes in, and I gotta piss. So I'll be back shortly. Don't burn anything down. Actually, Ordain, you're the only one that gets to burn things down. Go get him, champ. All right, I'll be back in a minute. My neck! My neck! All right, hold on. Hold your horses. There we go. There we go. It's always so weird with the tracking thing. But... Marinco neck break? Listen, that's the wrong break. That's the wrong break, Ordain. That's break as in the brakes on your car. Break as in broken, as in something has become broken, is B-R-E-A-K. Buffalo, 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 buffalo. An African movie. I don't want peace. I want problems always. Oh my God. I don't care. You know what I mean? I know, Ordain. I'm being a goofy American and trying to help you improve your English. All right.
Presidency. The year Justin Bieber released his first single, and the year Modern Warfare 2 was released, and most online gaming.
Ah, yes, that was the last Call of Duty I played.
Slender Man's story begins on a website called Something Awful, a comedy website and forum based around internet culture.
Magic the Gooning!
Specifically parodying and making fun of internet culture.
Okay.
Every week, Something Awful would host a contest called
Peter Dinklage on a scooter. I remember that picture.
With photoshopping images based around a specific theme or prompt that would be different every week.
Okay.
On June 8th, 2009, one of these Photoshop threads was created, in which the goal was to create the best paranormal-looking image. Going through some of the images posted on this thread, we can find quite a few submissions that are very well made, but also an equal amount that are...
Wait, what's the paranormal part?
Not so well made.
That's a monkey.
That is one big pile.
Wait. Okay, what do we got? We got Flatwoods Monster down here in the bottom middle. We have obvious goofy-ass monkey. We have a shitty sitting bear in the woods. Weird Igor's inbred cousin reflection on the wall. I think that's a picture of Gandhi, but faded out on the bottom left. And then I can't tell what's wrong in this top one. Unless it's that little bitty thing right in the middle of the picture. I have no idea what it is.
Only 2 days after
vehicle repairs, gotta use body parts now. It's Doctor Who episode all over again. Oh my god.
Came with a short story attached to them. This was the first image, and the caption read, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them. But his persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." 1983, photographer unknown, presumed dead. And this was the second image, which was captioned, "One of 2 recovered photographs from the Sterling City Library blaze. Notable."
The blaze? The blaze? Okay.
Taken the day which 14 children
chat, this is how you make a good
the Slender
good
Man.
caption for
Deformity cited as film
hi.
by
I
official.
totally didn't
Fire at library
get
occurred
scared.
1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence.
There's no shit in my jorts.
Photographer Marie Thomas, missing since June 13th, 1986. These 2 images
Sterling Library.
The official birth of the Slender Man. And unbeknownst to Victor Surge at the time, he just changed the history of internet horror forever.
I like the look of Victor Surge.
I love the idea of the Slender Man. And for the next few days, Victor would continue posting new images of his creation, each of which added a bit of lore to the character. Many of Slender
Local
Man's
boy
main
disappears.
traits were already established
that happens.
in his first couple.
Wait. Oh, there he is. Oh, good lord.
Images, like him mainly preying on children, his ability to sprout a bunch of tentacles from his back, him mainly roaming around dark forest areas, and his ability to mess with electric.
I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. I can tell he's on the right here, but it looks weirdly like a deal gone bad. It's like, do we have a deal? And somebody just whips out their phone and takes a picture. He's like, scream! All right.
Equipment. With each new image that Victor posted,
more
and more users would start talking about the Slender Man, until eventually the original topic of a Photoshop contest was pretty much completely abandoned, and the whole thing turned into a Slender Man thread instead.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Oh my god.
On June 18th, 2009, a mere 8 days after Victor Surge posted his first 2 Slender Man images,
8 days?
a user named Cigars posted a short story in which he talked about his friend Alex. Alex had been working on his very first short film for the past 2 months before abruptly abandoning the project for
Marble
seemingly
Hornet
no reason
sounds
and becoming
familiar.
incredibly distant and private, actively avoiding contact with other people. After a few weeks, Cigars, also known as Jay, managed to convince Alex to let him come over. And when he did,
I'm sorry, hold on a second.
Cigars, also known as Jay,
Why are his eyes in 2 different zip codes? That was mean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And when he did, Alex looked sick. Jay noticed that
YouTube found footage series popular Slenderman.
After hanging out for a bit, Jay eventually asked Alex about the short film he was working on and why he suddenly decided to abandon the
Watch
project.
this.
Alex
Wait.
didn't really short film he was working.
DV? Is that's not a video format, is it?
Significant amount of weight. After hanging out for a bit, Jay eventually.
That's not a video format. I'm pretty sure. Sid the Sloth IRL. Am I wrong? Mini DV. Oh, well, it doesn't look like there's disc inside. It looks like a tape. It really does look like a tape to me.
He asked Alex about the short film he was working on and why he suddenly decided to abandon the project. Alex didn't really give a reason, but said that he never wanted to see any of the footage ever again. And that
magnetic tape? So it does do video.
After a bit of convincing,
I've
Jay
never
eventually
seen
managed
that
to get
outside of
Alex to give
VHS.
him the tapes instead, under the condition that Jay never brought them up to him.
Granted, my
ever
house
again.
wasn't very
Jay
technical,
agreed, brought the tapes
growing
home.
up.
Shortly after that, Alex moved to a
Like
different
VHSs
state,
were
and
the
Jay never
only
heard
thing
from
we
him ever
had.
again. He then posted a
Tapes
second
for
message
radio
that
and
included a link
VHSs
to a
for
YouTube video,
movies.
which is the video that's playing on screen right now. In this video, he basically explains the whole situation again, ending it off by saying that all of this
With
happened
weirdly
3
looking into
years
the
ago,
sky?
and that Jay had been reluctant to look at the tapes ever since Alex gave them to him. However, now, 2 years later, he has finally gathered up enough courage to look at the tapes and decides he will start
I need an answer. Does it have video media on it, and does it work? I want an answer. Tell me.
putting them to YouTube in parts. This was the start of one of the most popular YouTube
like
series
was it a
ever
pre-DVD
created,
media?
Marble Hornets. The series was written and directed by Troy Wagner and Joseph DeLodge, and both would also star as the main characters.
Why does he look
Troy
like
playing the role of Jay and Joseph playing the role
sideburns.
of Alex. It is absolutely insane to me how only
Like a
8
floppy,
days
but if you
after
plugged into a
Slenderman's
PC, you could
creation,
pull them
there were
off as
already people dedicated enough to create a fully acted out video series for the character. And what's even more insane to me is how big the series became. The series ran for exactly 5 years, from June 20th, 2009
5 years?
to June 20th, 2014, and would get a total of 3 seasons with a combined runtime of 9 hours and 22 minutes. Now, as you can imagine, with a runtime that long, I'd be here all day if I wanted to discuss everything that happened in the series. But to give you a brief summary, the series went on by continuing the story of Jay as he watches each of the tapes to try and find out what happened to Alex during the filming of his project. We quickly find out that during
5
filming,
years?
Alex would start to frequently get stalked by the Slender Man, who in the Marble Hornets universe is called the Operator.
God damn
This
it.
continuous stalking causes Alex to become extremely paranoid, completely obsessed with the Operator.
This is where the pages came from.
Proving the existence of and trying to capture footage of the Operator.
And on flash drives, I figured.
In a final moment of clarity, Alex decides that he's had enough, abandons the entire project in an effort to save his sanity. This is when Alex turns the tapes over to Jay and moves to a different state. Jay then reveals that over the course of him uploading these tapes to YouTube, he's been doing his own research on the Operator for a while now.
Has
he decided that he's going to continue the project where Alex left off. The series then goes on to follow Jay as he slowly starts to become obsessed with the Operator, who now begins to haunt Jay as well.
Oh, hi.
Again, I can fill the entire video by just talking about this series, but I'm not going to do that. I highly recommend checking out the series for yourself if you're interested, as it's one of the most influential pieces of media ever created for the Slender Man character, and established a big part of the overall lore. Things like Static appearing when trying to film him, and his ability to drive people insane and turn them into his own little minions called proxies, were all tropes that were first introduced in
Wait, I didn't know about the proxy thing.
YouTube channel that
I guess that's why those girls stabbed that other girl to death, thinking that they could become his proxies or whatever.
And the series would even go on to get an official DVD release and a tie-in movie. Though I use the term tie-in very loosely here, as the movie barely has anything to do with the original series it was based on. It kind of feels like the new Marble Hornets was just slapped onto it to get fans of the original series to watch it. But even when looking at it as its own standalone thing, it's just not very good. To be completely honest with you,
college student film project.
The biggest piece of dog shit.
Despite that, I cannot give the original series enough credit for being one of the biggest contributors to Slender Man's success. It laid the groundwork for nearly every other adaptation of the character that followed. And I don't think Slender Man would have ever achieved the success that he did if it wasn't for this series. However, the found footage style that the series was filmed
no one else is allowed in my bed.
Elements that were implemented into the storytelling made it way too convoluted
I like my bed
and
comfy.
to follow for the average viewer.
We'll go do naughty things somewhere else.
But the average Joe wasn't gonna watch a video on YouTube and then go over to Twitter to read some cryptic clue and then go back to YouTube again to a completely different channel that contained even more clues that were necessary if you wanted to understand the full story. Now, in order for Slender Man to reach a wider
average
audience,
ARG,
it needed to be adapted into.
But what if with your wives? I said somewhere else.
Easier to understand. Something like, I don't know, a video game maybe.
Put the knife down. A video game, maybe? No way. No way if you... classic Mark with his weird little parrot peak. God, were they really this... Is that... That's not Trainwrecks. No, that's...
Slender, the 8
What's his name? Tomska?
Originally just named Slender without the 8 pages
No,
subtitle.
God damn it.
This game was revolutionary for not just indie horror games, but for the internet as a whole, which is very impressive considering how incredibly simple the game actually is.
It's been so long since I've seen Tobuscus's face
26, 2012,
that I just completely forgot what he looks like.
Productions. It only had one very
I think it was Trainwrecks for a second, but Trainwrecks is a gambler.
Starting the game. Collect all 8 pages.
Trainwrecks is a gambling streamer and nothing else.
With nothing but a flashlight
absolutely
in hand,
nothing else.
8 pages. There's not even any music. All you can hear are crickets, the occasional owl, and the sound of your footsteps as you start looking for these pages, which you can find at various landmarks that are scattered across the map.
You know, I never once saw the entirety of the map or was able to piece it together. I would always just keep wandering.
Alex can be seen making up the Operator in the
a very not good person to Tobuscus, that is.
Oh, yeah. First page, a low drum sound will start playing. That sounds eerily similar to the violin sound effect.
Cashews. Hello.
This is also when the Slender Man will start chasing you around the map. Slenderman will try to prevent you from collecting
Gmod, like, oh, hello, hold on, I'm getting a phone call.
As much as possible. If you stare at him for too long, or if he gets too close to you, it's game over, as static covers your screen, and one of the most recognizable sounds in indie horror history starts to play. After collecting the first page, Slenderman starts out a bit shy, doesn't really let his presence be known to the player. He only spawns behind you at first, just out of your line of sight, and hides behind trees and bushes. Chances are
Police Officer Support Committee pack?
However, with each page you collect, the music starts to get more and more
I hung up on him.
Slenderman becomes more active and aggressive, no longer just stalking you.
Sorry, I don't talk to police.
Bushes, but actively trying to catch you as he starts appearing right in front of you and attempt to cut you off and block your path.
Why are you bullying me?
Wait, he has tentacles in there? I don't remember him having tentacles in this version of the game.
So the faster you are at collecting the
I honestly
pages,
don't.
the easier the game stays. And on top of that, your flashlight only has limited battery life and gradually gets more dim the longer you use it. You do have the option to turn the flashlight off to extend the battery life, but after exactly 15 minutes and 45 seconds of use, the flashlight dies, leaving you in complete darkness for the remainder of the game. Though if that happens, you're pretty much dead already, because you can barely see 5 feet in front of you without a flashlight, making it almost impossible to find any of the remaining pages without getting lost. But with enough trial and error and a little bit of persistence, it's definitely possible.
I think I remember actually turning the gain up like really high on this, not gain, sorry, brightness.
The forest
or gamma.
An explanation as to why you were here in the first place.
I think I played it on like a shitty laptop.
Free Robux. Nope, you still die. But
oh man!
You get to see the credits this time.
Oh. Universal Images, Unity technology.
And you unlock a daytime mode where you can now play, well, during the day.
Oh.
No shit.
But no matter what you do, the ending to the game will always
I never saw the daytime mode. Why have I never seen the daytime mode?
Nothing you can do about it.
I guess nobody really ever played it that long.
The original Slender game has to offer.
Just because,
it's extremely simple gameplay-wise, and
they didn't upload the content of it afterwards.
Special either. To be completely honest with you, it actually looks kind of bad, even for 2012 standards. Just look at the actual Slenderman model, for example. I mean, what the?
Yeah, it was bad, and that was the point. It was made by some schmuck with a paperclip, some belly button lint, and some free time in Blender.
Hell am I even looking at? The guy looks like a cute kid dressed for a funeral. And what are those? He's wearing flippers.
What are those? They are my
flippers. Those are some
oh my god
feet, man. Also, some of the landmarks you can find the pages at are random as hell and don't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Like
what do you mean? What do you mean? That's totally a van.
Absolutely nothing in it except for a chair.
Wow.
Or these random walls that are just there in the middle of a forest for really no reason whatsoever. And the most random of them all, like honestly, what is the point
biggest
of this
fucking tunnel I've seen?
It's just on the middle of this path for no reason. Why would someone ever build this here? And why do I even
tunnel
care?
Ordain tunnel?
Wow, that's a great question.
Look, I
thought it looked like a RuneScape model too.
I really don't want to bash the game or anything because this is all in retrospect. At the time, this game was genuinely scary, and also many people, myself included, first time ever playing.
I think it was because of its simplicity and the sound design was half decent.
This game, which was originally just made for people who were already familiar with the Slenderman lore, became a giant hit.
And then PewDiePie picked it up, and then Markiplier.
And
then all the other schmucks.
I think hit is an understatement. This game became a phenomenon in every sense of the word.
God,
especially
fucking
on YouTube.
weirdly teenager-looking PewDiePie is so weird to see in the year of our Lord 2025.
Horror games were already a thing on YouTube way before Slender came out. Amnesia,
yes.
Ao-Oni, for example, were very popular in the horror games. Many
I also forgot how old Ao-Oni was.
Slender really was a turning point.
Because I still see people play that this year.
Like the face cam, for example, really only started to become popular after the release of this game because people wanted to see the person playing's reaction to the spooky Slender.
I'm still pretty sure they're hamming it up. I get scared by things, sure.
But it most definitely popularized.
I know who that is. See, there's Tobuscus again. Hold on.
But it most definitely.
That's fucking Uber Hacksaw Nova. He was the #1 game YouTuber at the time, and he eventually went on to join the Creatures. He was really annoying in the later years, though. I think he still streams or still like makes videos and stuff. He used to make Minecraft stuff mostly. But he became really annoying after a while. I don't know if that was just me like growing up and like Some Hololive members played it. Yep.
Definitely popularized it. I mean,
yeah, Uberhack. I forget that at that time, fucking Uberhacks or Nova was literally bigger than everybody else.
That's still the standard today. But the main reason I say Slender was a turning point for the Let's Play genre is because I feel like before
don't worry
Slender,
about the snake in the pool.
Kind of seen as weird to watch other people play games.
Tunnel.
But to me, the time around Slender's popularity kind of marks an overall social transition in a sense. At least when it comes to
fucking gliding.
YouTube was getting more and more popular each year. And was slowly starting to become more mainstream. Watching and making
Gangnam Style
videos, and I guess YouTube videos in general, was starting to no longer be seen as a waste of time, but was instead starting to get seen as a normal hobby, and in some cases even an actual viable career choice. The Let's Play genre was already
in a pool?
No, because of this.
Not every snake is Vexorious. Vexoria doesn't even have. Does she still have a tail? I don't think she still has a tail.
That introduced it to a more
I don't think she still has the tail.
I genuinely don't think a game like Five Nights at Freddy's would have ever seen the success that it did if it wasn't for the success of Slender the 8 Pages and the way it helped shape and popularize the Let's Play genre on YouTube. Now again, I'm not claiming that Slender is solely responsible for creating the Let's Play genre or the current Let's Play format, but it probably wouldn't be the way it is today.
Okay,
if it
sorry.
wasn't for this game.
I had a bunch of notifications on my phone for some reason.
To many YouTubers' careers, who would later go on to become household names.
Hey yo, wait a second.
For example, who got his first viral video from
I think the cookies. I think the cookies y'all got me off burner here.
Much of an impact as Slender
Check, go grab them.
Overall YouTube
leave y'all with this for a second.
Had on the indie horror game landscape as well. I don't think there's a single game in history before the release of Slender.
Chat. He's probably about to. He's probably pitching the exact same idea in the midst of pitching the exact same idea. Do you think the Slender game, the earliest version of the Slender game, do you think that was a turning point in horror creation? Do you think that's what made the entire like ecosystem of horror creators viable? I could see it. I think that may be true. Has the cookies, probably won't share with chat though. There's only like 6 of them. It only came with 6. I could, yeah, I think that may actually be true. Eated the cookies? No, Mad. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait till we finish this.
As many fan games and clones.
Oh,
as this
Jesus.
Game did. I mean, I know the amount of fan games Five Nights at Freddy's got makes the amount that Slender did seem like child's play in comparison, but that was a few years after. This was really the first time in internet history where a game became so popular that so many fan games and parodies were created for it. Some of these fan games kind of served as updates or expansions to the base game by keeping the gameplay and mechanics the exact same as the pages, but creating new maps for it. Sanatorium, Hospice.
I was gonna say, I do remember Sanatorium. I think I played the Sanatorium one.
But most of these games were just shitty, low-effort parody games that were borderline.
Just walks right through the wall,
or in some cases, just literally shitposts.
Wait, Goose, Shrek.
But there were some genuinely good
ones. Oh my god.
Actual thought and effort put into them.
Dead Space Slender game?
Slendercraft, for example, which takes place in a recreation of the original 8 Pages map, but in a Minecraft style. And instead of a flashlight, you now start the game off with a torch and must collect crafting materials on top of the 8 Pages, which you can use to craft a flashlight and get rid of your torch. I think that's a very creative way to implement actual Minecraft mechanics.
That is kind of interesting, but
stand out from other fan games that are usually really.
Look at this! What are you doing, Ordain?
Another fan game that really stands out is, of course,
Shrek 5: The Shittening,
a series to which I personally owe a lot.
I mean, yeah.
The video of me playing through the series pretty much kickstarted my channel. What makes
not the Slender Tubbies.
That it isn't just a single game, but an entire series with its own lore and everything.
Wait, a series? I knew there was one Slender Tubbies game. Tubby Toast.
Huh? The second game is actually really enjoyable. It has multiple maps to choose from,
Tubby
custards, custom enemies of mutated Teletubbies, and the third game has an hour-long story mode campaign with boss fights and dialogue options, and it even has an online multiplayer mode.
What the
actually
fuck?
Insane for a parody game. Slendy Tubbies is probably the
I don't
most
like
popular
Soldier Tubbies
out there. And I highly recommend checking it out for yourself if you haven't already.
And definitely not being based off of like the fucking
fan games were being made in such a short
lord
time is of course because of how popular Slender the 8 Pages was on YouTube.
Okay.
Every gaming YouTuber at the time just kept
what is
out
hold on
video
what Pewdie, what were you thinking? Hold on.
Every gaming.
What the fuck is this angle? Hold on, chat. Let me just get this on over here. We're just. All right, chat. This is how we're streaming from now on. This is the stream. This is totally the best possible angle imaginable for conveying my emotions to you. I'm sure. I'm sure. Actually, you know what? Here, what if I here we go. All right, is it still good, chat? Is it still peak? We still fine? Sorcery. Is this it? Is this how we're gonna get partner? Straight to the moon? Now they're taking away witchcraft. Hi, Keyshawn. I can look you in the eyes. Which eyes? Hi. Anyway, all right, bit done. I have made my bit. This is stupid. Pewdie, what were you thinking?
Just kept cranking out video after video of just them playing these parody games, and everyone just kept
always look directly at the Z-axis.
And Slendy didn't limit himself to just games.
When I told you to make eye contact, just
he was
full
literally
turn
everywhere. He started making appearances at Comic-Cons and on your mom's Facebook wall, in a bunch of clothing stores.
Ladies love a well-dressed man.
People started dressing up as Slender Man, and all kinds of parody videos featuring the character were being made on the daily. Like, seriously, anyone who sold white dwarf suits during that time could wipe their ass with $100 bills, because they were making big bucks. This really was
who the fuck was making money off that?
Popularity. Almost every day, new Slenderman related content was being released. Games,
okay,
skits, song parodies, you name it. And it all happened because of one simple game.
One game, one idiot.
Parsec Productions.
Okay, probably more than one idiot.
Their game's rising popularity and began working on a sequel pretty much immediately after. The game was going to be a direct
remaster.
To the 8 pages. It was going to have an actual story this time around. It was being developed in collaboration with
I remember playing this one, and it was
the creator of Slenderman himself, Victor Surge. This was going to be the first, unbeknownst to anyone at the time, also the last, big budget, full studio video game adaptation.
Yeah, I played the demo for this when it was just like all you could do was go into the house and see Slenderman, and then you would like try to leave, and then the game would end.
Making it an actual canon part.
And then I never ended up coming back to it.
This game had the most perfect setup to become a massive, surefire hit.
Totally.
Only it wasn't.
Yeah.
But before I actually start talking about this game, I feel like this is a perfect moment for me to clear something up first. At the beginning of my Slendytubbies video, one of the first things I said was
I don't like Crab
this
Po.
Game that everyone played. Then there was this game that no one played.
And a lot of people took that as me saying that the game was bad, or that it was a giant flop or something. Which
no,
it
it's just that the comparison.
And I obviously didn't mean it literally when I said that no one played it. That was just me trying to be funny. But let's be honest, Slender the Arrival didn't even come close.
Yes, Ordain, what are you doing?
Impact that Slender the 8 pages had.
Crab Po? Yeah, Crab Po.
Perfect setup.
Strong, you don't like Crab Po?
Which is why I made that joke.
Oh, what the fuck?
To be fair, while the game certainly has its flaws, which I'm definitely going to discuss in a minute,
the search bar showed up for some reason.
Fully the developer's fault.
Vibing.
Factors for why that happened were completely out of their control.
I don't know, Ordain. You're usually up to no good when you're vibing.
Slender the Arrival released on March 26, 2013, exactly
4
9
years
months after the release of Slender the 8 pages.
Oh wow, that's actually a really fast turnaround time,
especially for this game. Now, same as I did with Marble Hornets, I'm not going to go into too much detail as
wait a minute.
Game. Now,
wait a minute.
Let's start by briefly going.
Okay.
Story, especially for this game. Now, same as I did with Marble Hornets, I'm not going to go into too much detail.
So there's a Poe from Zelda that's a crab? No, it's not from Zelda.
Story after this, I highly recommend this video by Super Horror Bro, which I'll link in the description. I also quickly want to mention that I'll only be discussing
whatever the fuck that creature was
when it was first released, and not any of the later updates or content that was added post-launch. Mostly because I'm also going to be discussing the overall reception of the game.
Oh, I hate the head bob. Oh, I hate the head bob.
And I don't feel like any updates added after all of that
yes.
to that discussion. So yeah,
here real quick. Let me. We were looking at Emma Frost earlier. Oh, whoops. Let me see really quick. Wait, I know I had this open beforehand. Where is it? What the? Oh, there it is. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we've seen Emma Frost. We've seen Emma Frost. I could finally be a bad bitch tank. Hell yeah. But also, look at those fucking thighs, dude. It's funny too, because Emma Frost is, I've mentioned this before when we were talking about this. Emma Frost is almost always a fucking beanpole. And then they gave her those? Good Lord. I guess they had to beef her up somehow to make her seem more like a tank. But usually I expect like larger shoulders or something. Instead, they just made her a pear. She is now a pear. She gets stuck as often as Faye does. All I can think of is MK11 clip. Do Thigh Queen challenge Chun-Li? Mayhaps. Where they derive her tank abilities clearly. It's something. I like the funny thing too is this outfit is kind of sort of based off another one of her like outfits from the comics. And you can tell that at one point they were like, okay, I think this is a bit too deep of a coochie coverage. So they added like the very tiny shorts. Get stuck one time and this is my legacy. Listen, it's fine. I needed a comparative structure. Okay. It's for chat. They need a comparison picture, Faye. You know how they are, right? They need image. Although I hate these boots. I hate the top part of the boots. I don't like the X boots. I don't like the X part. I like the boots all the way down though. I think you just want me to cosplay her. All right, but you have to get a haircut. Work it, cake. Oh man. All right.
Felt like that was important to mention before going into
what
this.
The fuck
I do
is
actually
those?
plan on making
all
a
right.
video after
20
this
squats.
about the arrival as a whole, including all of its updates and post-launch content, because I do have a lot to say about that. But for this video, I'll be discussing the original release version of the game only. Alright, with that said, here we go. In the game, you play as a woman called Lauren, who's about to go visit her best friend Kate. Kate unfortunately lost her mother recently, and because of that has now inherited her childhood home. She has decided that she wants to sell it, and has asked Lauren for help with selling the house and packing things up. When Lauren arrives at the house, however, she finds the place completely trashed, and Kate nowhere to be found.
Oh my god,
Upon
she's
investigating
dead!
further, she discovers that Kate's entire bedroom is covered with pages full of insane ramblings and multiple drawings of a strange and mysterious tall figure who appears to have been stalking Kate.
Oh yes, totally normal things. Spoiler! Our spoiler.
The Slender Man. Yeah, I bet you didn't see that one coming, did you?
What
Lauren,
the
then here's a
fuck was that? Hold on!
Spoiler alert. It was the Slender Man. Yeah, I bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? Lauren then hears a scream coming
What is
from the
that?
house. And thinking it might be Kate's, she decides to head into the woods to try and find her friend.
Kate!
Throughout the course of the game, she eventually starts to get hunted by Slenderman herself.
Come here,
along with
bitch!
some other strange creature wearing a hoodie and a mask, who appears to be aiding him. Eventually,
it's
Lauren
totally
gets led
Jeff the
into a
Killer, you
trap
guys.
and gets knocked unconscious.
Oh!
When she wakes up,
Why was
she
he
finds
naked?
herself in the basement of an old burned-down house. After making her way upstairs, she finally finds her friend Kate, who's quietly sobbing in a dark corner of the house.
And having
When
a Blair
Lauren
Witch
approaches
moment?
her, she suddenly transforms into the masked creature that was trying to hunt her down earlier, and attacks Lauren, revealing that this creature was Kate all along, and that she has been turned into one of Slenderman's proxies. The game then ends with a cutscene of Lauren being dragged away.
Jeff the kills you? Oh my god. Yes, you called. Wait, which part?
The proxy for the Slender.
Which part?
And that's a very summed up version of Slender the Arrival story. Personally, I think the story is fine for what the game is, and I especially like how
for being a creepypasta game, it's
at all, or try to
a lot more effort than other people tend to put into things.
That way, Slenderman remains this mysterious and
you hollered for me, did I?
Whose motives are completely unknown to anyone but
himself. Did I yell for Faye?
I believe Slenderman works best.
I have forgotten.
There have been a few
I've forgotten what I have said recently.
A backstory, and it just never really seems to work for one reason or another.
Oh, I hate the head bob still
is
so
probably
much.
The one from a fan game called Haunted Memories.
Oh.
In which Slenderman was once a man named Mark Slender, which is already a little
oh
on the
come
nose, if you
on
ask me, who was burned alive inside of a bunker by German soldiers during World War II, which then somehow caused him to become the Slender Man, which is of course just dumb and no one liked that. So I appreciate the fact that they didn't try to do anything similar.
Wait a second, go back.
Just dumb and no one liked World War II.
Go back.
Which then somehow caused him to become the Slender Man, which is of course just from a fan game called Haunted.
I think this is the farmhouse.
Memories, in which Slenderman was once a man.
Are we back in the building again? That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. I think it's the farmhouse.
He was burned alive inside of a bunker,
but I'm not 100% sure.
During World War II, which then somehow caused him to become the Slenderman, which is of course just dumb and no one liked that. So I appreciate
no one liked that.
Do anything similar.
Return to Slender.
Another thing about the game I really
liked. Return to unknown monster in woods.
Easily the game's strongest point in my opinion. One of my favorite things about the game is that while playing, you'll often hear stuff like footsteps or things rustling in bushes behind or next to you, even though there's absolutely nothing.
Is anyone there?
Fuck off.
It does a really good job keeping
me playing horror games.
I absolutely love.
Here's random stray noises that is almost certainly something trying to kill me.
And that to me, it often feels like the game actively tries to take you out of its immersion as much as it possibly can. And one of the biggest ways it unfortunately manages to do that for me is through the game's use of collectibles.
Uh-oh.
Come on now, dog.
The game says 1 of 300 collected.
See, Slender the Arrival doesn't actually tell you its story straight up. But
well, shit, Chad. I guess we're going to do a whole nother playthrough where we get every single collectible.
These collectibles are things like letters and emails and newspaper clippings and stuff like that. And most of them make little to no sense whatsoever just by themselves. But if you take all of them and put them into context of one another, you'll be able to piece together the backstory of what happened prior to Lauren arriving at Kate's house, which is where the game starts. And with that added context, you're then able to understand what's going on throughout the events of the actual game itself. Now, what's the problem with this? Well, the problem is that most people don't give a shit about collectibles, and because collecting them all is pretty much a requirement if you want to understand literally anything that happens in the game, most people, including myself when I first played it back in the day, will have absolutely zero clue what is even happening throughout the entirety of the game. It just puts you in a bunch of random scenarios, refuses to elaborate on any of them, and before you know it, the game's over. It doesn't even tell you something as basic as who it is that you're playing as, or whose house it is that you're visiting at the beginning of the game. You can only learn that through these collectibles. Now, to go back to my original point, why does this ruin the immersion of the game?
Why?
Well, because you're practically forced to stop playing
weird little monkey
every time you enter a new area, and either start roaming around aimlessly looking for these things, or exit the game and pull up a guide on like YouTube or something. And while that mysterious way of storytelling may work,
guess I'm gonna do what I usually do, chat, and that's
for example, where the story is more of
an hour and a half to go through an area that's supposed to take me 10 minutes.
The game. For a game that has an
me saying I'm gonna try to speed run Dishonored as fast as possible, but also I have to get all of the bone charms. You understand that, right, guys? Gotta have all the bone charms.
What I think it should have done instead was the same thing that Slendytubbies 3 did for its story mode. And before anyone asks, yes, I am about to unironically use a Slendytubby game as an example to criticize a game made by an actual professional game studio.
Oh my god.
Slendytubbies 3 opens up with a small bit of text that in only a few sentences sets up the game's world and gives you just enough lore information for you to understand
ain't nothing flat about me, damn right.
Playthrough. And then
hell yeah, brother.
At the beginning of every chapter.
Anyway.
If The Arrival did something similar to that and only included extra details.
Don't y'all miss the days of fucking loading screen info? Now loading screens are so goddamn fast, or worse, non-existent because they hide that shit in like elevators or vehicles and shit. That now you don't get any of the cool little lore snippets. Quit looking at butts, Ordain. So hold on, I need to redo the, there we go. That's a little bit better. Now I'm looking in a little bit better directions.
Details about the story and its collectibles for those who wanted to find out more about the game's lore, like most games do. I wouldn't have a problem with any of it.
Good lord.
Unfortunately, it didn't do that, and that makes me sad. But some other big points of criticism the game received were that it was too short, which I'd say is fair. On average, it only takes about 90 minutes to play through the story mode. And there's even an achievement you can unlock if you manage to beat the game in only 45 minutes.
Wait, there's 3 of those fast ones, I guess.
Kind of sad. Another big one was that the game was very repetitive, which, yeah, I'd say is also fair. It didn't really do much to expand on the gameplay ideas of the original Slender the 8 page.
And if you have to get collectibles in a game in order to explain the story or explain why you're even here, you've already lost the fucking plot. Slorp. All the slorp. All right. What are you doing, Bull?
Than some kind of variation.
What are you blinking at?
Pages. Turn on all generators, close all the windows, or just literally find 8 pages. Twice. And when your game is only about 90 minutes long, having like 5 sections of what are basically just variations of the exact same gameplay idea can definitely make it feel repetitive.
Don't look at him, don't look at him, don't look at him, don't look at him.
It was sold for only $10 and was made in only 9 months' time. So I'd say it was very fairly priced for what you ended up getting. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of people, myself included, were just expecting
the plot is not in the main game. You've literally lost it. Yep.
An actual game studio and had some pretty high expectations to meet after the phenomenon that was Slender 8 Pages. And whether it was fair or not in retrospect, a lot of people were just left a little disappointed after playing it.
He's just standing.
What the fuck are those other swallow emo? Jesus
like I said
fucking
at the beginning
Christ.
Of the segment, Slender the Arrival definitely has its fair share
Hate
of flaws.
that.
But I also said that there were some other factors as to why this game didn't
Hate that
reach
a
the same
lot.
amount of popularity as Slender the 8 Pages did.
What the
Factors that
fuck
were
is up with
completely out of the
VorTubers, my
developer's
guy?
control. And the biggest one of these is simply the fact that by the time the Arrival released, most people were just tired of seeing Slenderman everywhere.
Sorry, internet 9 months off non-stop Slender content. I swear it was longer than that. I swear it was longer than 9 months.
Off to get the game out in only 9 months' time. But as has always been the case with most things, when something becomes popular as quickly as Slender did, it usually loses that popularity again just as fast.
Don't rub your butt on the carpet. What did you do? You better not have just pooped inside.
A lot of people had already moved on.
You
to the
better
next big
not.
thing by the time the game dropped.
Ah, shit.
And while there were more than enough people who were still interested in the Slender Man, and the game wasn't a financial.
So also Siren Head. I don't think Siren Head was nearly as big as Slenderman. I almost said Slenderhead.
I also feel that the insane growth of the entire
no idea who this guy is.
YouTube during this time created a new type of audience that just wanted to watch their.
Why can't you mean like all the other cool streamers? Because I don't like Vor.
Let alone bought themselves. They were never going to actually buy a game
dumb.
like The Arrival. They just wanted to see a PewDiePie or
okay, no, it's not dumb. I'm just not a big fan of it.
They were interested in the YouTuber they watched, but
and I don't want anything like that to be my gimmick.
Played, which often resulted in.
If I wanted a gimmick, I'd probably go for like a giant gimmick, if anything.
And on top of that, Slender the 8 Pages was
just shitting with extra steps.
The Arrival cost $10, which automatically
broken by
meant that the
booty
player base was
emotes.
going to be much smaller because of that. I genuinely believe.
No, I was more broken by clicking the booty emote so I could actually see what it was, and then finding a swallow emote.
Yes, 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 yes. No, fuck.
But whatever the reasons may be,
I mean, it's $5. $5 isn't bad for a game.
Alike, with some absolutely loving it and others absolutely hating it. I personally fall somewhere in the middle. I definitely
Coco's trying to lick me.
I think there are a lot of things it does really well.
Chat help.
And it's easily the best Slender game out there. And since it was sold for only $10,
oh god, we still got a long way to go.
I can't really complain too much. But to be completely honest, I'm not exactly.
I don't think I can snooze my way through the rest of this video.
The game for this video all these years later will change my opinion on it. But even after
what are you
doing so,
eyebrowing at me with, fucking Ordain?
I think that the game just could have been so much more than what it eventually ended up being. Also, in case any of you watching weren't aware yet, last year the game
I took them out before I started stream.
Anniversary, where they pretty much remade the entire game.
You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. 15 minutes, Coco. 15 minutes.
Planning to add a multiplayer mode and mod tools to the game that allow you to create your own custom levels. So if you feel the urge to go back and replay The Arrival after this, then I'd say now is a better time than ever.
Multiplayer,
though, as genuinely awesome as these updates are, it's not going to change how the game was received.
Multiplayer.
As for most people, when they think of Slenderman,
what did I do? I was looking at you did the eyebrows, the uwu, Vex's uwu.
Ultimately, people were quickly starting to lose interest in Slenderman, and while the game definitely was a financial success, it failed to revive overall public interest in the Slenderman character, who continued to lose
I can't look at Coco because then she gets crazy excited.
Had his fair share of fans, his decrease in
just looked at
popularity
her and she like lost her shit for a second.
Of the end for the character.
Because you'd be stupid if you went into a horror game setting alone.
Then, on May 31st, 2014,
you never know you're walking into a horror situation off the top of your head, right?
Happened in real life. Honestly, when I first read about this, I thought it was a joke or meant to be satire or something, but unfortunately, it was very real. On May 31st, 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls, Morgan and Anissa, lured their friend Peyton into the woods after a sleepover, stabbed her 19 times, and left her.
19 stab wounds!
Also only 12 at the time, managed to crawl to a nearby road, where she was found by a passing cyclist, who immediately contacted emergency services. Luckily, both attackers were quickly arrested, and Peyton managed to make a full recovery. Now, those of you who have never heard this story before might be thinking, what does this have to do with Slenderman? Well,
why are you telling us about this?
The two girls said that they didn't actually want to kill Peyton, but believed they had to in order to save them and their families from getting killed by the Slender Man. Yes, I'm not kidding.
And this is also the thing that I remember hearing at one point that somebody told me that it was because they wanted to join Slender Man at his Slender Castle in the woods. So I don't know about this one, but yeah.
Site called the Creepypasta Wiki. Okay. It's full of like horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you, and there's one of them called Slenderman.
Because they believed that they and their families were being targeted by the Slender Man, their plan was to offer themselves up to him to become his proxies, which they hoped in turn would cause Slender Man to leave their families alone. But before they could do that, they had to prove themselves worthy first, which is why they tried to kill Peyton, or Bella as they nicknamed her.
She has these proxies or...
How did you get Bella from Peyton?
Morgan said, hey, Anissa, we should be proxies. I was like, okay, how would we do that? She said, we have to kill Bella because we had to
I guess.
worthy to Slender.
It's time to lock the phones away. No more internet. No more internet until you're 18.
Satirical, just because of the sheer ridiculousness of it all. But unfortunately, it was very
kids no longer get internet until they're 18.
Understandably so.
Do not have to have an internet license like a fucking car license.
Really wanted to focus on wasn't necessarily the case itself, but more.
Okay, we're gonna have to pause it here real quick, guys. I'm gonna have to give you words on stream for a little bit, and then we will be back to wrap this up shortly. I do apologize for all the breaks, especially after starting late. But don't set anything on fire unless you're ordained. And I will be back in just a bit. I am probably going to go let Coco out and make sure she didn't poop in the dining room. So I will see you shortly. What happened? What broke? What happened with... Wait, what's wrong? What happened with words? What are you on about? What happens? I'm confused. What happened, chat? How did it break? What broke? Words dying halfway through stream. I blame the last gen iPads. Where's the company card? We need new ones. No! I don't have the money. All my money is going towards moving. All right, hold on a second. My head feels like it's not like properly lined up. There we go. All right. Be gone, music. Back to slender shit.
So this mysterious
anyway, remember these two 12-year-olds tried to kill their best friend.
The motive, say police, to win the favor of a fictional internet horror character called Slenderman, who the girls
also, what is with this news interface?
Website,
Gross.
creepypasta.wikia.com.
And due to many people learning about Slenderman, and by extension creepypastas in general, for the first time
seriously,
through the horrible
eyebrow
and
thing?
frankly dishonest way they were being portrayed on the news,
it's the fucking
perception of Slenderman
mystery man. Have you seen this man in your dreams?
Meme, to him now being the symbol of some strange online cult with the ability to turn your kids into murderers, which caused many concerned parents to start monitoring their kids' online activity.
Yes, dumb parents not understanding a thing and just being like, it's a cult. Okay, sure.
Make sure that they stayed away from these oh-so-dangerous creepypastas. The creepypasta wiki in particular, which was mentioned
the gays,
the girls' police
started
receiving heavy criticism from people who claimed that the site was responsible for
Jeffy's mine. Oh, nice job, Grins.
That caused these girls to become obsessed with the Slenderman.
Coco, that's not yours.
He's partially responsible for what happened to Peyton. And many people even blamed the site directly for the
Sorry,
incident.
we have the neighbor's dog over, and I just caught Coco eating his fucking spaghetti.
That the creepypasta wiki
the neighbor made spaghetti for her puppo that I've been feeding him the last like 2 nights. It's basically like a type of dog food spaghetti. It very much smells like dog food. I just served it up a second ago. That's why it took me so long to get back. Oh, and it smelled so bad. It smelled so bad.
They said all of the works presented on this wiki and other sites, including
Mars gonna turn you into Frownson.
Killer, Ben Drowned, Sonic.exe, etc.
Oh, right, Ben Drowned.
Characters.
Well, duh.
Now, I'm not going to read the full statement, but I will put it on screen. So if you want to, you can pause the video here and read the full.
Presented on this wiki and other sites. Of course, only a small minority of people, mostly newcomers on the wiki and the internet, truly believe what they read here. And for most people, they will not attempt to replicate atrocities represented in some of the literatures on the wiki. Something like this was bound to happen considering the size of the creepypasta community. All it takes is one person to do something insane and radical in the name of someone or something. This is an isolated incident and does not represent or contribute to the creepypasta community as a whole. This wiki does not endorse or advocate for the killing, worship, or otherwise replication of rituals of fictional works. There is a line between fiction and reality, and it is up to you to realize where the line is. We are a literature site, not a crazy satanic cult. It's sad that they had to say that.
Thing yourself.
It's like the thing with like those computer-generated fucking like websites where they had to say that like anything this character says is fiction.
Literature site. Not a crazy
because it's an AI character.
Honestly, the fact that this even needed to be said and that all of this
it's
actually
so fucking funny
in
to
real
me.
Life over a creepypasta character of all things is still
Chat,
to this
you
day
understand when you're not talking to a person,
However,
right?
Due to all of this,
you know the difference between fiction and non-fiction, right?
By the general public. And if you brought up the topic of creepypastas around other people, they'd often directly associate it with this incident and get uncomfortable. Creepypastas kind of became a taboo
I know
topic,
most people still don't know about creepypastas.
I mean, people started treating him like freaking Voldemort.
That is still not your bowl, Coco.
Like if people heard you talking about Slenderman, they'd look at you as if they just overheard you say.
Oh my god! I can see her down the hall, fucking digging into their bowl.
Absolutely ridiculous. But as with any nationwide moral panic and controversy like this, most people eventually forgot about creepypastas again and moved on to the next thing. But unfortunately,
what was the next big thing?
The damage was already done, and his name would forever be associated with this tragic incident. Many projects involving
creepypasta when Cherry Noodle
in fear of receiving backlash, and it kind of.
What about my 700-foot as death waifu?
Many fans still remain
your
a little sliver of hope that one day people would just forget about this whole thing.
Carrie, your what?
Slenderman-related media would start to come out again.
Are you?
And they were right.
Are you talking to a giant Esdeath AI character?
Sony released a movie about Slenderman, simply titled Slender Man.
Oh
and
god.
It was a complete disaster.
Of course it
Sorry
was.
in advance to all the 3 people watching who actually like this movie. I'm just letting you know, I'm not one of you. Everything about this movie just sucks. The writing and dialogue.
I'm making a hokey. A hokey.
See, a circle jerk.
A joke.
The CGI.
Wait.
Writing and dialogue.
It's top secret.
Oh, I see, a circle jerk.
The CGI.
Yikes.
What the fuck am I looking? I couldn't even tell what I was looking at. Was that a dude's face?
Going over the plot first. There's this group of 4 teenage girls who are best friends. One night, they're hanging out together.
Listen, no horror movie that starts with a group of teenage girls hanging out at night ever goes well. Just ask Tarot. Not the VTuber. The movie. The Tarot movie that came out, what was it? Like, around a year ago. Something like that. Fun fact, Slenderman's canon in World of Darkness. It's what? Shut up.
Watching porn, as teenagers obviously do whenever they hang out.
No, it's not.
Do you think she likes that? Oh my god!
Until one of them brings up the Slender Man, a mysterious mythical
I'm still pretty sure this is the exact same opening to Tarot.
They try to find some info about him online and eventually stumble upon a forum website that contains a link to a video that supposedly summons the
him.
Man. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember being able to summon him was ever established to be a thing anywhere prior to this movie. I mean, who does he think he is anyway?
Oh my fucking god!
Or something? Get out of here, man. The
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
And only to reopen them once they hear a third bell ring. The video starts off with a couple of random shots of a dark forest.
Okay.
The bell rings, they close their eyes. Then there are some more shots of a forest, which are actually kind of pointless when you think about it.
Extremely pointless because they're in their living room.
Moment, before eventually a third bell rings. And when the girls open their eyes again, Slenderman himself makes a brief second cameo.
You can't tell it's there.
Before it cuts to a seizure-inducing edit of flashing images that would feel right at home in an EXE game. Most of these images don't really seem to have anything to do with
wait a second. Is it... Hold on. There's... Not getting rid of AI. There's only AI getting so good you can't tell it's there, which is already reality for some people. And then you have to remember that AI is also currently cannibalizing itself. There's so much AI slop around the internet that AI is literally fucking learning off of itself and just fucking... What's the word? Creating incest art? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Contains all human imaginations of all cryptids, creepypastas, and things that anyone can imagine are real and somewhere in the wide universe. Fuck that.
Man, whatsoever. Well, like the Illuminati logo, for example. I mean, why is that even in here? It feels like they were trying way too hard to be edgy in this movie. I mean, you might as well have just put the Jeff the Killer image or like Smile Dog or something in there.
Yeah, Smile Dog.
Anyway, then the video ends and they're all just sitting there speechless and confused about what they just watched. But the girls weren't the only ones who were confused at that point, because so was I. This Slenderman summoning video is brought up a couple more times after this.
A couple
the entire
more?
Movie, I just couldn't help but think, who filmed this?
Who?
I mean, Slenderman himself makes an actual physical appearance in the video, right? So, did he film this himself? Like, did he have a tripod or a selfie stick or something to film this with?
Why did you? If I do sit still long enough,
I'm genuinely confused here. It makes no sense.
If I stop moving for like 10 seconds, then it thinks I just became the background. That's insane.
Until he eventually starts picking them off one by one.
Okay, bye.
Or at least he takes 3 of them. And the other one he turns into zombie Michael Jackson from the Thriller music video. Also, like I said, this movie has some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in a horror movie. There's this one scene where one of the girls is making out with her.
What is up with horror movies and having weird pregnancy horror?
All distorted and twisted.
Well, didn't like the Warlock have like something like that?
I genuinely can't believe that this scene made it into the final cut of the movie. It's actually that bad. There are also a whole bunch of scenes that are just edited in a weird way and don't really seem to make any sense. The Slenderman summoning video again is a perfect example of that.
Wait, do they play it again?
Random and completely unrelated imagery that seems to just be there
Chat,
to try and
please tell me you're not going to make me watch this movie for a movie night, right?
Some kind of vision in her head, and it shows this.
Oh yeah, it's a get rich quick scheme off the backs of everybody else's work.
I mean, what even is this? This scene looks like one of those edgy video art projects people claim to have found on the deep web.
100% confirmed deep web video.
The entire movie has to be the one where Slenderman turns into a giant-ass spider and starts chasing one of the girls. I don't know where that was ever stated to be one of his abilities, but that's pretty fucking cool, man. He should really do that more often. Something I did like about the movie was how it showed the original Slenderman image from Victor Schultz.
What the fuck?
We're looking for evidence of the Slenderman. That was a cool Easter egg I spotted. Also, throughout the entire movie, you can hear a bell whenever Slenderman shows up.
Do you hear that?
And while I really don't think it was intentional, it kind of reminded me of the ambience music from Slender Man's Shadow after you've collected a couple of pages. Again, I highly doubt that it was intentional, but I'll give it a free point just for that reason. Overall, the movie was a giant flop and really killed any possible hope that still remained of the Slender Man character ever making a comeback.
Also, was one of the arts on the wall Michael Jackson fighting the Slender Man?
And critics alike. With a reviewer by the
I'm pretty sure I saw Michael Jackson fighting the Slender Man,
describing the film as a nail in the coffin of a dying fandom, and my personal favorite one being from David Ehrlich, who in his review said, Slender Man aspires to be for the YouTube generation what The Ring was for the VHS generation. But there's one fundamental difference that sets these two movies apart, and that's that The Ring was good, and Slender Man is terrible. And I honestly have nothing to add to that. Slender Man completely faded from the public conscience after this movie was released, and unfortunately still, to this very day, has never been able to recover.
Oh, that still looks horrible.
Slender Man without a doubt has one of the most interesting backstories of any internet horror character ever. While characters like Freddy Fazbear, or pretty much any creepypasta character in history, were always
designed... Is that Angelica in the bottom right? Why did I see Angelica from Rugrats?
Slender Man was created for a simple Photoshop competition for a fairly niche group of people. He was never created with the intent to become the viral sensation that he did.
Again? What do you mean again?
By accident, which makes his story extra special.
I did not need to hear incest AI. That's what they're doing.
His story has such an incredibly sad ending. The impact that Slender Man had on internet culture and indie horror gaming cannot be overstated. But despite his viral success, people never really seem to be able to figure out what to do with the character and where to take him next.
Because hold on. Because when you start with something that's so small and so shallow, you end up with, in this case, a fucking Hollywood studio getting their hands on it and creating a goddamn fucking slop movie in a half-assed attempt to make an icon. What they should have just done is let it fade away into obscurity again and then bring it back later. Bring it back later. But, you know, Hollywood. Guys, what if we brought back Slenderman? It's been 4 years since that shit came around. Maybe we could bring it back and make it cool again. And then they proceed to hire a bunch of the nerdiest, dumbest motherfuckers you can possibly imagine in the writing room for the movie. Never interacted with Coffee Pastas and find out about SCP pretty late, so I actually learned a lot from this. Hell yeah.
Down to the same few gameplay ideas. There have been some genuine attempts over the years, but not a single project involving the Slender Man character has ever been able to reach
weirdly like Amnesia when I look at the nicer Slender games.
Well, people seem to just kind of be tired of the character after they were done turning him into a giant meme. And that, followed up by a real-life crime committed in his
and the fact that it was kids, Jesus.
The general public, and then a terrible movie release a few years after that, which killed any possible interest anyone still might have.
Listen, it's not bad. It's not that you can't make a movie that has a good, like, teenage girl group fights monster as a good movie premise. It's just, I can't think of one off the top of my head where it's been done well.
If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy some of my other
Don't say Stranger Things, there's only a couple girls in there.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this in the future.
But,
and hopefully, I will see you guys in a future video. But for now, I'm out. Later, people.
Public has a lot of very short memory, so it's possible for it to work. It could. Buffy? Isn't Buffy just primarily, well, Buffy? Right? Isn't it? I could have swore it was. I could have sworn it was. Wasn't it? Am I wrong? Am I misremembering? Who are you people? I don't think... I haven't watched any, like, consecutive Buffy. I've only watched Buffy here and there. I couldn't even tell you which seasons or, like, which episodes I've seen anymore. But we need to figure out somebody to raid. Sai is live. Segi is playing something called Sandland. It looks like it's weirdly in like a DBZ style kind of stuff. Somebody's playing Marvel Rivals. Every century we just recirculate the internet and no one will know. Listen, it can happen. Well, wait, you mean century? Internet hasn't even been around a century. I mean, maybe like every decade or so, just recycle the same shit, bring it back and watch everybody be like, I found this crazy meme, guys. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. All right. We are going to raid Sai. Cyraxis. His title is just in Eldritch font. I don't know what's happening. It's fine. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna be playing Prey. Carrie has what is it, bashed me over the head multiple times, reminding me that I will probably, in fact, not be able to finish it in one setting, but I'm going to at least probably try to start as early as possible. In terms of, like, we'll still start at noon, but we'll probably get to the game as fast as possible and try to get as much done as we can. Because I can't stream later than... I would like to not stream later than probably about 5 p.m. Which is unfortunate because I did not realize how long Prey was. It never felt like such a long game when I'd watch it. We're going to continue. We're going to continue where I left off. But even then, we probably still won't finish it. But that's pretty much it, you guys. We have Vampire on Sunday this week. Vampire the Masquerade over on GM the Game Masters. And then we'll be back on Monday following tomorrow. Yeah, no way of finishing 5 hours. Yeah. But I will see you next time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for enjoying the show. Now get out of my tent.